Residency Estate is a gated community located in Old Yundum, proudly developed by Swami India, perfect for all looking for a quiet life with luxury amenities within an enclosed setting. When talking about the benefits of living in a gated community, safety and security is top on the list. They allow extra privacy, take away the hustle of unwelcome solicitors, and create a safe haven for children to play in a trusted environment without traffic or speedy vehicles. A great sense of community develops through the meeting at a controlled communal leisure facilities, offering an integrated lifestyle. A green environment and well-managed communal areas are keys to higher home standards, elevated quality of life, and better property value should you consider home reinvestment in the future. Added to all is the location, just next to the airport and reconstructed main road, yet tucked in the tranquility of nature. Our purpose is one, your satisfaction. Contact us. Let us help you build your dream home in the Gambia.
Welcome to Trust Bank.
If you are thinking of a bank that takes care of customers' needs by providing quality services with flexibility, reliability, and innovation, think Trust Bank. With Trust Bank mobile banking, you enjoy services such as balance enquiry, mini statement, funds transfer between accounts, exchange rate, mobile airtime top-up, stop ATM card, checkbook request, and PIN change. Our real-time gross settlement allows the customer to instruct the bank to transfer funds from their account to another account at another bank. Our expertise and experience in international banking is both legendary and the envy of the market. Retail banking. One bank, different amazing packages. Whether you are interested in savings account, current account, time or fixed deposit account, lending or overdraft, our team of dedicated staff is always ready and happy to help you out with your transactions as you wish. Corporate banking. Trust Bank offers the most convenient services for deposit accounts, credit facilities, trade finance, bond and guarantee, and foreign currency account. With e-banking, you can make electronic bill payments and online banking and enjoy 24-hour access to your money without ATM. With the largest network of branches and agents, we give you the convenience to receive funds as you please. We are Trust Bank because we take pride in satisfying every customer's financial needs.
Ngalo na lawa to kuma ta bak asira linga da fo ko nyu founding kila
hey elafta maboro la bank kalpo efa igiso eseo na yuna jang ibadin ke yato kati yuna wallet ibe falindiro ke kan sandiri nyat
ni la yuna wallet to si muna fanno tulo jabo mano kandrin ni fen jama isi sanno la yona wallet to kono yalla kamo soto ila wallet to kono
alkana la konda no tay ka bi yuna wallet anatan tolle rukan na balwo fanondi abe sono yaren ko bulu podo ne la mobile scan yo science ise ma boroke wato men diate
ko be sandro ke fangole ba ko ba ke kan dimbalem isi ñu lonko e sandro yona enterprise wato wati ani la yona wallet to la ibe lan kamo soto kay la wallet to kono
alina Nakafun nani yuna dimbayal kan kasandiro ke yuna biti poto ali nga kata nyin ko kentat na sura fa lolu di sandiro kije se ma boro fanan keje
moro jundia na nyum ko di mabal ni kadeda.
This season on Kerr Fatou.
The reason I have always called for a national dialogue
tell you one thing, if me as an individual, if I know that there is somebody that I definitely wrong, I will be bold enough, I will go to the person, I will appeal to him and apologize him.
Hello and welcome to another Thursday, another show here from our studios in Tranquil. And today I have my boss, Sait Matty, Edi Jamanka, and of course Mustapha. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Today we'll be looking at the Senegalese political situation and of course what effects it can have on our democracy. And of course, what role should the Gambia play? Because 2016, when we went through what we went through, Senegal played a big role in making sure the will of the people was respected. But before we get into that, let's look at first what is happening home front. National dialogue. Sit. The president is hosting a national dialogue. Yesterday it was announced by the Director of Press. There was this committee, National Preparatory Council or something, and they announced that they will be hosting the national dialogue. Of course, the president first will host political leaders at State House on this February 12th. And then there will be the proper national dialogue on the 16th. What's your take on the dialogue, the national dialogue? Do we have anything to dialogue? Is there anything?
I mean, honestly, this is a breaking news to me because
you didn't see it?
I haven't had the time these past weeks days to read the papers because I've been in the field, collecting data and all that stuff. So I haven't had the time to read. So, but I'm happy. I'm happy to hear, that officially and finally they've decided to take up this initiative because I've been one person since 2017 saying that what this country needs is a national dialogue.
What are we dialoguing?
You dialogue based on, because you set up a transitional justice process. You set up a transitional justice process that, the issue is all about, getting justice, but also truth, but at the end of the day, helping society to reconcile. But in this country, I also noticed that one of our biggest issues is the governance at the governance level, and this is what mostly politicians. And it's very rare to see politicians meeting outside when we are either invited by civil society or even in their inter-party committee. But at the end of the day, I think for our transition to be meaningful, all voices need to count it. And, we're moving towards implementation, and I think this is too late. It's better to be late than never. So I think there's an opportunity. There's also the issue of constitutionalism. We're talking about a new constitution in this country. For me now, the issue is not why we need to dialogue. What should be on the agenda of this national dialogue? I think this is what also I'm very much interested to know. But I think definitely, I would definitely want to support that, especially for to discuss whether we need a new constitution or not.
Wow, interesting. Mustapha, is there anything to dialogue? I don't believe in this dialogue. I have seen what it has caused in Senegal. I'll bring my opinion, but
that's a good lesson also.
I think what Gambia government or any other political class should focus on it should just be good governance. Make sure all the institutions are functioning, justice is served, when justice is served, naturally peace reigns. And people would, even those who are on the wrong side of the law, would admit from within themselves that I am suffering, I am going to prison because I have deserved it. Because that's the consequence of justice in the society. There is no better way to have peace than to ensure justice. And right now, this is a highly unjust society. In a lot of ways, I mean, whether it's in the case of rape victims, in the case of victims of JAME, in the case of victims of various forms of human rights violations, in the case of even for economic rights, you know, in the case of even having access to justice, like go to courts, even have access to police to investigate. It's a highly unjust society. I think, you know, these things are good, but they must be accompanied with good intentions, you know, so that they just not cosmetic stuff, so that it's a way of silencing people. Oh, but we are talking. Yeah. It's just not just enough, you know. Yeah, I would vote for a more detailed, in-depth, all-encompassing reforms in the justice.
For me, I haven't read, like, I don't know the idea behind it, but I can understand why it is important at this minute as well. I mean, for you know, I'm a political scientist. I mean, I engage in transition. I understand that for transitions to work out, for us to get to where we want to get, it's not just like continue governing. Because if we continue governing, what will happen is that we will continue 1997 governance. All you're talking about now is the legacy of the past regime. But I agree, where do we seriously need to move is to ensure that today, if we go for a national dialogue and we come up with the 10 points that, okay, by December we need a new constitution, it means that everybody need to agree on that. So if, for me, at least I'll give the benefit of the doubt to see that maybe this is an interest. I mean, because there are things that need that kind of conversation so that we can have those. And for me, I think at the political level is very relevant, and it also can send good message in terms of, especially like Mustapha said, if they are very genuine about that. But just make it like come, we formalize it, and then people go. I mean, we don't want those kind of waste of time activities.
Are you also concerned as an activist, as somebody who promotes human rights and rule of law, that it can also be a tool to silence the opposition? I'm looking at the Senegalese scenario. You know, when President Macky Sall came and said, we want to have a national dialogue for inclusive political participation in our elections. And some people like Usman Sonko and his party opted out. They said they don't see any need for that because we have laws, we have the framework of how we should go to election and others. What are we negotiating? Now, when Karim and Khalifa Saleh and his team went on the dialogue, all of those people that went on the dialogue, their issues were addressed. You know, when Macky came, he set up this commission that accused Karim of stealing billions from the taxpayers. He also accused Khalifa of the case noir. You know, a lot of people believe those were politically motivated cases, right? But during the dialogue, those were included, and Macky gave them a blank check. They pushed laws in the National Assembly and made both of them eligible at the expense of the taxpayers. Now, those who refused to come on the dialogue, they made sure they had laws and plans that really excluded them from the election. So it was more of all. So these people, Khalifa Saleh, Bartolome Diaz, the PDS people who were so critical of Macky Sall, now started playing along this line. They went to the National Assembly on Yewi Askangi, the coalition, opposition coalition, but they now vote with Macky Sall because he helped them get into the elections. So at some point it looked like it was more of silencing the opposition, appeasing them, giving them what they want to the detriment of the general good. Because if we don't have a strong opposition, that is bad for our democracy.
You know, for me, I mean, sometimes I don't like to romanticize things, but I feel in this country, in this situation now, and with this 6 years, 7 years, it's still a struggle. But anyone that allows to be, you know, oppressed in this country, allowed to be silenced, especially political parties, then you're not what to be a political party, because political parties are supposed to represent the voice of the public. And so that should be the starting point first, that everybody is going there as an agency. You're comparing Senegal, yes, it could be compared, but I'm looking at two issues. For us, I am seeing more of a transition, and I can even say, I mean, is Macky that betrayed, or, you know, because he was not very much interested in dialogue. And even just yesterday, he canceled an election and called for dialogue. I mean, for those ones, I will not take them seriously. But for this, I will try to give them the benefit of the doubt, because, I mean, as part of our transitional justice process, this is needed. And if you look at in this country, most of the time, most of the tensions that you see, I mean, he mentioned all these injustices that continue to exist, but we have like political tension. And that political tension, we must find a way to have it, I mean, kind of contained. And for me, my expectation was towards the constitutional process, where it would be a process where all political parties, because it's a process of negotiating, renegotiating power, where everybody sits down and then they discuss and have that kind of frank conversation. For me, all I want to see is I want to see our politicians sit down in a televised process, agreeing on a process, agreeing on a timeline, agreeing on things that are of importance to this country, and not just because who's going to be next president and who's going to be in terms of the political arrangements. We cannot, even if we are to be participants, we cannot allow the conversation to go that way. And of course, at the end of the day, I mean, the government will be expected to implement whatever recommendation comes out of that dialogue. Before the government betrayed, I mean, President Barrow said he was going for third term for 3 years. He didn't go for 3 years. He contested. We have seen that. But this specific issue, for me, like I said, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and see what the outcome is going to be.
You see, I think there's something that's also very important.
Yeah.
And it came in the conversation. And that's one thing, is taming political tension. The taming of political tension at the level of politics is not the cause of the problem we have. Right? Now, this dialogue addresses political tension. Like, let's say what Darboe says to Barrow, what Barrow says to Darboe, what Kande says at that level. Now, what the dialogue as I saw it was not meant to address the problems.
You mean the proposed one?
Yeah, the proposed dialogue, for example, if you look at the thematic areas, so they say, for example, irregular migration and empowerment, securing sovereignty, safeguarding stability and well-being. These are very high-sounding, nice words. Ethnic diversity for national unity, religious tolerance. These are things that would have been ensured by the conduct of government itself. Because the government is not like an institution of UDP or PPP or NPP. Government is an institution of Gambians. Once the president is elected, becomes the president for every party and everybody. So the president's action when in office is not an action for NPPs, it's not a political action, it's an action for the country. And so some of the things they're calling dialogue to address are things that should have been addressed by the policy issues that the president provides, right? So for example, if you say, for example, let's have a political dialogue, political environment for sustainable peace and stability. Let's take few examples. When the TRRC sat, you know, our TRRC was very good. I was covering and reviewing most of their sessions, if not all of them. But one of the things most observers or most people who were following noticed is that they were occupied mostly with the criminal side of things, the human rights aspect of things. So we were, because the TRRC was a live investigation. All other TRRCs, they go and investigate. When they are done, then they come and stage hearings. So they pick cases to be staged. Our TRRC was investigating and staging hearings at that time. They were overwhelmed with that. So the issue of what TRRC should do with respect to reconciliation was not much thought about or considered or explored. So the bits and pieces, they only had some hearings here and there, which are mainly for television. There was no so much work into this reconciliation. So that even after the TRRC, there were communities that were still dealing with significant polarization. Say, for example, even instances where people denied that rights were violated, and even made attempts to make other people whose rights were violated not to say it. for political reasons and for other reasons.
Yeah.
And these things, they took sometimes socio-ethnic ways. A lot of things happened. And many people have called for a proper reconciliation, a proper investigation into this, and a proper mechanism by which the society could have reconciled. But at that very time, for political interest, what was the government doing? The Barrow was everywhere with Jammeh's with Jammeh's perpetrators, and so these are things that this dialogue, this should have surfaced in the conduct of the government. And that's one thing. The second issue is that a lot of issues also they raised in this, like religious tolerance, and these are important things. I mean, we've seen when the CRC, the Constitutional Commission, came about, we've seen the Christians considering a historical precedent which happened under Jammeh, were quite curious to hand over to remove the issue of secular in the Constitution, because they said that takes out our protection. You see, so we could have had conversations over that, but these things we have to be serious about them. But
you know, Mustapha, this is what I was saying. That's why I said it is too late. Because for me, I said it should have started since 2017. On January 30th, 2017, I wrote an article that I was in Norway, and I said all Gambians must work together. Even there, I recommended for TRRC and all this different stuff. And I was part of those that even helped draft the transitional justice strategy. But then the idea of sequencing was also there. But if you look at the TRRC report, as he mentioned, you can realize that one of the recommendations is for the government to establish a peace and reconciliation commission, for instance, so that all the things that have been missed by the TRRC would be picked up by this other commission. And I think this is one of the things, that's why I said dialogue is very important, because if you look at our transition is so holistic. It encompasses security, it encompasses institutions, it has the legacy of Jammeh, the way Jammeh was dealing things, because some people will use memory to say that, well, this is the way Jammeh used to do it, so we continue to do that in that way. And then you raise another issue in terms of the thematic that they raise, because these are current national issues. I mean, migration is a national crisis. People think it is sensitive, like some people don't want to talk about it and all those different, because people are dying and all that. But as a country, if you are not, and this is where I agree with Mustapha also, that this could be addressed by governance. You want to create employment, young people want employment so that they can stay. So issue of migration, definitely we know is the issue of, lack of jobs and all those things. But of course, in terms of the psychosocial push factors that also push people, those ones could be addressed by governance. But dialogue, sometimes you bring dialogue because maybe government does not have an idea of how to deal with this. So if you don't have an idea of how to deal with some issues, we bring everybody on board and say, well, this is a national crisis now. How do we deal with this? For me, this is how I see, or this is how I understand dialogue.
Now, you know what I would have addressed, or how I would have addressed that. Now, this country sometimes we tend to forget. We have all ethnic groups in government. Government is a multi-ethnic institution, and its actions should go with endorsement of that. There has never been an ethnic government in the Gambia. Even Jammeh's time, when people say it's ridiculous.
That's where I always.
It's never an ethnic group in the Gambia. Ethnic government. You can abuse power and hire and more ethnic groups in a particular institutions, but government is diverse. Now, but when you look at the conduct of the presidency, the government setup, the politicians who comes to make up decision-making level in government, those people must have their conducts in a way that feeds into some of these things they put on the document, right? Like reconciliation, this, that, and that. Now, if you look at even our government right now, at the political level, we are not having a one-party government. We're having a multi-party government. It's almost like a power-sharing government. At the regional level, UDP is present, NPP is present, and some other political parties are present. Now, but even if you look at inside the government, they're not working together. So how do you, this is a contradiction. Like, instead of calling for a media meeting, you should show that by this by working.
You also get in you get in something. Well, let me clarify this. You see, today if in politics and democracy, we follow one thing, and sometimes, in terms of looking at people's participation, and that is contact. To what extent do politicians have contact with their elected representatives? But here, one of the things in terms of my engagement with the political class, and even especially some of the representatives, they feel like once they've been elected, once they've been selected, they don't need to go back to the people. And that is a mistake. That is a problem, because while you are the government, you need to listen to what the people also are saying, what the people want. That's why for us we do Afrobarometer. So we call it Let the People Have a Say, because we want to look at all these different issues, even the social inclusion and all these things that we are talking about. We have been tracking it. In this country, people are very close. Like, how do we track that? We say, well, do you mind your neighbor being from different ethnic group? People don't care about that, like he said. 90% don't care who their neighbor are, except when it comes to homosexuality. That one, there's something, totally something different. But in most of the other issues, but there is also, like he said, there are people that feel their groups are being discriminated in this country.
And this is where I want to come in. Just like Mustapha said, the dialogue should we start from their actions first. Let's see signs of government being inclusive. When I say that, I mean, for example, when the president stood at a meeting and said, we know the people, if they tell you I'm not part of the, I'm independent, they're opposition, write their names. Already you're threatening people's employment, right? That is discrimination.
For the civil service,
Yes, and we have seen samples of people that are called a certain political party and they are removed from office, not just because they're incompetent, but because they belong to a political party. We have seen businessmen being treated that way, Alaji Conte of Darboe, because of his political engagement. We have seen how government and local councils cannot work because of different political diversity. As the president who wants to host these political leaders, shouldn't he start first from actions and just openly declare that you can belong to any other political party as long as it doesn't affect your performance in government? And let's see those actions first. Because if I'm a political leader and I go to the negotiation, the first thing I'm going to request first is all of the people that you sacked that purportedly belong to my political, let's reinstate them first, then we can start talking. Because you cannot discriminate against me and tell me let's come and talk.
Yeah, you're talking about the civil service in particular, and after that, I think I wrote something on the standard.
I mean, because I saw your article on that.
The civil service is an independent. You see, this is a failure of governance. It is a continuity of the legacy of the past. And Barrow is ruling the same like Jammeh was ruling, even though more nicer, more calmer, and all those different stuff. But it's almost the same problem. Because in the end of course, when you cannot manage it, it becomes, it's everywhere, and then you feel like there is a lot of problems. And that's where they are. They've done so many things just for politics, and now they are faced with governance challenges. Now they want to address the governance challenges. But like you said, you see, if you were in that country, the first point for me, maybe I am too out there.
You said something even before you said we cannot be compared to Senegal because nobody should allow to be oppressed and not speak your mind. But say, then you are right. Yo, sister guy. When activists do work, do Sait Matty. I can say it here. You know why? People have been arrested and taken to jail. People have been arrested for writing their opinion on Facebook. My favorite activist, Edi Jamanka. At some point, are you the only Gambian?
You see, Fatou.
And now it's even difficult to get people on the platform. The only person I get on the platform, it's you. This is the fact.
No, Hamga.
So, my problem.
Hamga Lumadewa. Guess no man anybody else in this country. I'm just like every other Gambian. I'm a citizen. If you're a citizen, that's what you need to know first. Man ken momuma. Adamal boro momuma ken momuma. Country ken momuma. I'm an individual. Kunega dafa am benam go. Wa dafa like man abe. Like if people must start thinking that if you do this, then the government will do this. Then we kunega individually. That's how they break society. Macky Sall loolu la nekk di def Sénégal. That's how we break society, because people will feel ne dañoo afraid. Like the constitution give you the right pour ñu def ko su fekkee ne kii na daf la ñëw mu génnee loo xam ne loolu la constitution bi def, but they abuse the law pour ñu treat la, that is injustice, and that's the injustice exactly that Mustapha is talking about. And loolu every one of us need to condemn those things. The role of a government moo nekk for all of us. You need to establish government. Government did not establish us. So therefore government need to serve us, But if people feel that you know what they must again and you definitely living for then that giving everybody the right to do that. And in this society, despite all the challenges we have, I feel that if you look at all the reports we have, the democracy in this country is also consolidating on the other hand.
Yes.
But citizens, you wouldn't notice Lulu.
And take advantage of it.
And then you build you consolidate
Yes.
But if you tell a politician more,
you cannot. Yes.
Everybody
absolutely. And yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think that there is so much space, and that space can be taken advantage of without being afraid here and there. And I think everybody should just speak your mind.
You and I have not tried the other side more than you and you. You know, we have seen what we have seen.
But you think they will arrest us?
They can.
What have we done? Why would they arrest us?
All these
yeah, but we have not done anything wrong. I mean, we just do.
If I do my job.
You know, my dad, man, Suma used to show me that come all night the new follow. Can you imagine?
Recently, you been a paper, and we talked about managing what we call it, managing political crisis in in a small African state.
Yeah.
You know, the Gambian situation, but we fight that aspect of it. The cultural closeness, ties, because they also people that are in government, who are they? It's the same people.
Yeah.
So at some point, they can be a Lulu Monica the basic. But the other basic Monica, as long as the Bokane, next thing the Monica, then you want to legal swing Boka, then you want to legal swing Job, then you want to benefit from our resources. And how do we do that? Lulu Monica more than a focus. But when we just feel that okay, Boka, Sumawe Mange affects Mamboka, Nesby with this other person, then must be buri, then nobody will say the truth, can do hard digger. And that is the problem we are confronted with. Politicians will go and report fiki, and there are negotiations. But if you are doing your job, as long as you are doing your job, you are not here to please anyone. One small job as an academic, university is paying me, but my job is to engage with the community, to talk about these things, and I have to do it. Tomorrow we all gonna die, and at the end of the day, we have responsibility. But the fight for your country. Jamu yàlla la di loolu tamit daf nit yi dañ ko war a consider ñun suñ maam yi dee nañ fi xeex ak French bu bëri xeex ak ku nekk ñun tey nañ war a toog fii ñu ñëw teg taka bu muy jaam that shouldn't be the case. So moo tax ñu war a def this kind of dialogue ñu understand ante ñu am that collective desire to move forward and then we move forward. But it's as simple as that. Man, I'm functional there.
Yeah, I want to read this person. A genuine national dialogue should be anchored on combating corruption, land reform, depoliticizing the civil service, scrapping the Public Order Act, and halting the instrumentalization of the police force, drafting a new constitution and accounting for political party proceeds. Anything short of these will be a farce and an exercise. Exactly. Good luck to those. It's by Nyang Jai. And I saw that. But this is true. This is the truth.
This is the truth because that's why I was talking about because you see all these things they are talking about are cosmetic. You know, so you can. So for example, if you say Darboe and Baron needs to meet, no, they need to meet. So okay, no, this is fine. Now this is fine at social level.
You guys are limiting it.
No, I mean this is the point. This is what they're talking about.
So why man come as a media personality, come what Yang said. I have no problem with the dialogue, but I'm interested in the agenda. And when he read the thematic issues like security, I agree with those. Migration, which is a security, is a concern. But Yang list it. For me, those are the key points you have in the agenda.
Wow. Exactly.
Because you know discourse. And the dialogue, Monica, like people sit together, you discuss. Come, this is a dialogue.
But those are things that government and major politicians haven't seen.
They should be seen.
No, they have not seen to be serious about.
They are not.
I mean, like, okay, maybe.
It's like Maki keeping provoking Usman and others if they take to the street and say they are violent.
No,
it's saying one thing and doing another, and
it doesn't really make sense.
So like the other day we had a migration dialogue. You know why I'm sound as if I'm living, but I want the dialogue because it's something that I've been advocating for. But I am very much interested in the agenda. I don't think that agenda should be set alone by even though the executive is calling for it, but I don't believe that they should be the only ones to set the agenda. Let the people have a say in terms of what the issues they want to discuss. I agree with all this because corruption is a major issue.
Yeah.
Sexual gender-based violence. We're talking about seeing, people they commit murder, rape, pardon.
Yeah.
People are concerned about that. Corruption issues. We'll pass an anti-corruption bill, but then you talk about we're seeing other things that are happening. Citizens are concerned about those issues. So for me, and then the issue of food security.
I mean, for me, if you take me as a journalist and say we want to meet a dialogue with the media, I wouldn't come. Because I know how much I struggle to get basic information in this country. Like information that I should get. It's infuriating. I'm telling you. You go outside. Huh?
If we want to talk to the president to ask him pertinent questions, what is there to dialogue?
So Sait, if you look at it, they have access to information law. They're not even implementing it.
The other day, example.
They keep it there. We build human connections and struggle.
Yeah.
Build one party. So all the information we collect is people we know.
Yeah.
And you are always looking out whether you go to the libraries or the National Audit Office, National Assembly, and things. So you go so it's difficult, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you are telling me come and dialogue, with who? Go and fix the access to information issue first. Then you come with dialogue.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I see your points. Understand now fully.
Yeah.
And this is the level of frustration that have accumulated over the period.
Yeah.
And then also the continuous lack of trust within the political leadership. Because at the end of the day, load more for the nigga. So we say is it a dialogue about Sunyu, and people are having question about that. It means that there is something that you Koko Neka the Ote I'm not linga what
because Sait Matty maa ngi ko déglu Mustapha di la déglu maa ngi gis points from both sides because dialogue mooy waxtaan te réew in general dañ ko dee pencu dañ ko dee waxtaan kër sax su waxtaan amul suñ gisee ne maybe all things ku nekk ngeen def du ko neex di demee ni ko neex ñu ne loolu tax na duñ mun a oote waxtaan comme kër boobu ci dafa jëm ci tas so waxtaan moom foog mu dee am waaye léegi nag waxtaan nag lan la ñoo waxtaan understand loolu moo tax kii thematic areas yi wane loolu la ñu indi ne la ñu waxtaane kii ne they are valid du mel ni security du mel ni illegal migration ay yëpp ñu xam ne lu ñu war a waxtaane la li ñang tam seen noonu loolu yëpp ñu war a waxtaane la commissions ñaata commissions loo xam ne lay war a taxawal access to information commission bi ñu war a tànn ay ñi taxawal boobu mu ngi pendi disability bi su taxawee sax mu ngi is not functional corruption bi so commission bi yii yëpp yu war a taxawal la su fekkee lii yëpp ñu ngi gis naagute mu ngi laaj ci saytu nguur gi su ootee lay see ok président bi oote nen bëgg naa mit ak gars yi ñu waxtaan for several times ñun ñëpp dañuy dégg ñu ne gars yi war di waxtaan mu ñu sax ñëwalul soo nekk ci reer nga dégg gars yi war di waxtaan léegi ñoom ñu ngi waxtaan wala ñu waxtaan lan la because soo leen waxtaan ba pare am na li nga war a d'accord ngeen tënk ko understand waaye nag waxtaan bi soo leen waxtaanee yéen neen ba pare comme ñoom suñu waxtaanee because tamit soo waxee ok Darboe ak kii ñu waxtaan la ci fa ak Barrow Mama Kandeh bokkul Halifa bokkul keneen bokkul ñoo xam ne dafa am leneen because ñu am nañ ideas waaye su Halifa toogee Mama Kandeh toog ak Darboe toog understand ñoom politiciens yi ñoom ñu ko siy ñu toog ñu waxtaan ñoom ñii civil society ñoom dañu génn ñu toog a ñooñu suñu waxtaanee ñooñu leen lu tukkee ci waxtaan yooyu noonu suñ ko tënkee den da ngaa gis ne loolu mën nañ fa am at least luñ nam yëpp suñ ko bëggul xëy na mën nañu am ndoorteel bu correct daan ñu bàyyi lépp muy tasaaroo nii te waxtaan du am because of xëy na dafa am ay lapses yu bëri yoo xam ne ñun gis nañ leen soo dee war ñoo waxtaan man gis-gis bu mu fa am ok soo ñëwee Sénégal scénario bi nga sayt noonu 2018-19 gars dialogue nañ ak ñoom Sonko we are part of it. You remember that? Bañ dem ci elections ñoom Sonko we are part of the elections. Understand? Boobu Halifa bokkutoon ak kii naka la waxati Karim. Boo dem soo gisee ñoom Sonko last dialogue bi gars yi bañ ko mooy lan la Macky di dialogue because moom is somebody going. understand yow amatuloo fa stake yow nga stakeholder yow loo war a def rek mooy nga organise élection nga def soo ñan ngaa waxtaanal already li nga war a def yow xam nga ko already defal loolu moo tax ñoom Sonko ñu doon gis ne nii du pour ñu toog ñu dialogue because already loolu waa wi tënk ñu def ko loolu moom fa already soo gisee ci législative élection si gars yi génneewuñ ñoom Sonko ñoom Malick Gakou ak ñoom Aïda Mbodj ñoo ñëpp ci seen liste heavyweight si waaye taxul ñëpp demuñ élection kan seen élection dem nañ élection te ñeneen bokkuñ waaye ñooñu am nañ seen tactical lifin bi ñu def understand Yewwi dem nañ walu dem am intertactic lifin ak walu taxaw weedu fa taw walu ku nekk bàyyi sa bopp fu doole nekk understand so waxtaan baax na xam nga yaa ngi ko wax léegi ne waxtaan bi ma ko Sala wax ni yaagul li mu wax ne ci cabinet meeting bi yaagul it's because ñan la bëgg a waxtaanal du Halifa Sallah du Seck du kii du Karim Wade ñoom Sonko la bëgg a waxtaanal understand ndax nag Aïssata Tall Sall dina free lifin yi ñu bàyyi naka la waxee prisonniers yëpp et pare gars yi toog ñu waxtaan loolu ci yooyu la gars yi di nekk understand waaye man ci suma gis-gis mooy waxtaan fi ñu ko ootee rek baax na waaye ñu teg li ñu war a waxtaanee comme li Mustapha teg fii ak li lay ñang yóoni ñu teglu ak ñoom itam am na li ñu war a wax because doo mun a oo mag yu mel ni ñoom Darboe ñoom Halifa ak ñoom am na li ñu war a wax ñoom tam ñoo wax dinañ wax lii ak lii ak ñoom Mama Kandeh ñoom nañ wax suñu waxee ñoom ñu wax nañ meeg soo ne ñoom ñëpp suñoo waxtaan ñu seet interest réew mi suñu xoolee interest réew mi suñu waxtaanee ba pare ñu face civil society dañu war a ñu war a gisee ñu
waaye ndax mën nañoo óolu ñu yëpp because bu ko seetlee ñii government bi moo ñëw dañ ne ñetti at ñu dialogue lañ defoon am coalition mu nekk lu mag ñu ne ñu ñetti at la ñoo lii ñu change ko everything lu ñu fi promise dañ ko fail léegi ñoom suñ dialogue ndax jar nañu déglu man foofu laa toog
mooy léegi xam nga suñ dialogue yi xam nga Sénégal te yaa ngi wax ñaata dialogue la Macky Sall oote tey xam nga bëri na te ñun amewuñ benn te ñun dañ waxtaan dañ ko dégg every time ñu waxtaan ba xam ñu waxtaan ba
su transition day am part gis nga transition suñu waxee ne dictatorship la ñoo jógee ñu ngi dem feneen lu nit yu di bàyyi xel moo nekk there would be power struggle doo ko gis spécialité yaa ngi ko gis si politicians si rek de but even institution si seen boppa dañu struggle institution bi du nangoo liggéey ak beneen bi because dafa wane lii mu nekk suma doole you know we seen it sometimes ñun civil society dañoo dem government ak officials yi ñu dem tase UN somewhere ñu xool government naka lañ ñëw behave the two government departments suñu dee behave fighting over maybe xëy na benn project or something else but benn bi tamit lack of understanding dafa bokk foofu so transition suy happen lu gën a require because transition in many other places lu ko dee set dialogue la force many countries dañ dee dem war like nga am sa peace accord then peace accord bi mu set agenda bi but fii it was a political transition politicians yi ñu doon set agenda bi right now dem nañ ba léegi dëkk bi dafa càng everybody accept na ne dëkk bi dafa càng soo waxee kenn du la dégg ku wax kenn du ko dégg it's important ndax léegi you know honorable Darboe ñoom Halifa like Edi nu mu ko waxee nañu ñu tamit nañ dem toog rek xool Barrow just like that
waaw léegi dialogue bi political dialogue bi ak the president is on the 12th February su passé dinañ am on the 16th the main dialogue léegi nag after boobu 3 months after boobu dinañ xool environnement di ñëwaat fii waxtaan assess ko ndax lu ñu waxtaanee foofu ñu ngi ko jëfee jëfe bi moo am solo ndax dinañ bàyyi di sànni wante kaddu bu ñu demee meetings ak political tension bi dina wàcc.
Me, I'm not attending the media dialogue.
No, hanga.
Me, I'm sending my crew to cover.
No, yeah, you see.
No, me, they should go and make the work easier. Me, I still. I have friends. My friends, I'm happy with that.
Maybe be money. Fii dañ dee wane gannaaw ay ñu ne naka la gannaaw ay jaam gannaaw ay jaam waaw yow
me am not dialogue
me and you
no Sid President Barrow ñu ka wara dialogue say.
Am nañ dialogue. No, nama jo interview.
Ñom am nañ dialogue.
Nama jo.
Wa rek mu jété.
That's the beginning of the dialogue.
President Barrow su fekkee yaa ngi sédal dégg nga.
Li ma ko bëgg a laaj ak bari.
It's already.
Li ma ko bëgg a laaj ak
xam nga gis nga man dama wax ne Gambia pour
me and Mustapha joint interview. Mu toog mi ma toog mi Mustapha toog mi jeex na ñu loolu rek lañ soxla loolu mooy suñu dialogue.
You know hanga mana.
Wow.
You see this guy he made me to protest mama ñaaga suma lifin because of ne dama react to the story that he
the passport.
Yeah. But I know that I could not do anything.
Yeah.
But one thing that I could have done, Monica, raise awareness. Sometimes, people will use their position, come their role within society, like your experience and understanding. Even though they feel they will not take it, but use a platform to say it.
Yes.
One day, wherever they invite me, I go. And it is through these processes they will influence a lot. So if you look at me, the guy is smart fighting outside is limited. Sometimes they fight. But I'll go through processes that influence it. Because there are things you're harming, honestly. I think government, especially the technocrats, politicians, trust no guy. Politicians, nobody should trust politicians. Well, look, I ensure guy because guy don't have money, decision making like.
But I will also tell you one thing. You see, they use your presence sometimes to legitimize
certain things. No.
To legitimize their meetings. Like say, you see this journal. Look at this. These are the most critical journalists in my country. See, they are meeting with the president, and that alone. So what I am trying to say is that for us as a journalist, I don't need a dialogue with a minister or a president. I don't. It's not my job. Now, my job is to make sure information is available to the people. My dialogue with me is to make my work easy. So I'm not meeting anybody for dialogue.
Now, if they want to know how should they make your work easy, because
they already know that. They know that. If they, in fact, they not just a process. We have an institution specially established that could tell them every trouble I face right now.
One
email.
You know why I'm talking this way?
And our president is part of the committee, so our president is part of the
yes.
Oh,
so he will represent us. Mr. President.
So that's what media dialogue is about, as far as I'm concerned.
There's something that that is there.
Yeah.
It's not only about we have all our rules.
Yeah.
You're a media professional. Man, I don't know what I am. Human rights. But let's talk about human rights. Man, I am more of governance. I want to see processes.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe so I have to fight for that person. I want everybody to be on a process and people to negotiate their power and then get and agree and then move society and that sometimes is not about our role. They come to academic law. So therefore, because academics they are arrested they arrested me, small Sibiru University, they arrested me, Dr. Cisse, all that stuff, and I feel but when they say, let's discuss this issue. And now I am understanding because it's for the independence. Yeah. And one of the things that recently I was reading Jagan Senghor. And these issues of dialogue has largely been part of Gambian political processes. From independence, political parties have never together. Even at independence, they were one united front, putting you up independent. Sometimes when your country is at stake, even what is happening in Senegal, we need to start talking about those issues because that may affect. So the platforms, usually we should take it for that. And so they may every day next minute I will never give up on Gambia.
No, but for you guys, it's fine. For us journalists, we have no business dialogue in it. But for journalists' sake, a dialogue with a journalist. But what do you think a journalist would do in a dialogue?
No, I don't never had them, right? Because government we are like a link. If government set up a process, we feel that it is good for the population, we have to advocate for the population. So there is a government especially when we are celebrating independence period. I mean, election is coming. That's what I keep telling people.
Yeah. So I'm so even at the elections they will invite all the political parties and I mean, they can. The dialogue is fine for themselves.
I think so at some point they need to know it because these are genuine points.
No, seriously, our representatives will be there, and I'm sure they will treat it well. GPU, the president will be there. Because Mustapha neke mun nañ ma hija back.
Man dara do yow.
Man li ma bëgg wax yëpp suma xol bi dafa metti. Léegi son président na wax.
Yow benn day na lay suñu civil society dialogue ak yini. They even security. Dafa heated by the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, we say things new heated, but at the end of the day dañoo taxaw ne okay, ku nekk nga def sa role. But that's what we're supposed to be doing. Because man du ma nekk civil society then ñu ma ñëw gars yi wax lii rek ma noppi. Like I need to measure whether mu ngi am interest dëkk bi wala otherwise. And good thing moo nekk ne ñun we are not looking for people to vote for us. So and we are not looking for nobody's money.
That's the thing.
So that's good.
That's good. So we'll come back after 3-4 months to look at the effect of the dialogue. Then I'm society, but I think it will be important. So conversation be tam dina tax ñom tam going into the dialogue, they will know ne am na ñu ci am doute. So jógee fa dinañ gënal
andul ndax ñoo xam ne they are suspicious.
They are suspicious. Comme suma maas. Man daal maa ngi naan mbaa waaw yee xam nga. So xëy na suñu gisee loolu 3 months after 4 months, they will say Fatou Touré ak Mustapha luñ ci doon xalaat demeewul noonu. And they will do right by the people. And I hope that happens. Now let's go to the main conversation, the Senegalese political situation. You know, we had Edi is very good.
Edi is like the expert.
He understands Senegalese issues a lot.
No, man,
run you down.
Man, mom music la ma xamé mu tok fi mu nan ma ni.
No, why? Senegalese issues.
Man do Senegalese rek ki waxtaan kan la.
Edi, let's start with Edi. Put you in the you know, pour Gambian audience ñi nga xamné xamuñ lan moy situation bi right now in Senegal. Put you in that stand right now. Lan nga understand si lan mo nekk di xew Senegal right now.
Okay, dina la njëkk a jaajëfal sax because role bi nga play ni I remember this role TFM play nañ ko just bu Yaya Jammeh annulé election results fi. I can remember Mamour Ibra Kane dafa indi woon special edition spécial yooyu pour at least waxtaanee loolu ba burda bi mu doon dem sax fii nii à Tiwaawoon dañ ko am pour stop ñu indi loolu ñu waxtaan pour gis ne Gambian scénario bi naka lañ ko mën a tawale so tey itam yow soo ootee jotaay bi mel ni dama ko rafetlu because dafa mel ni ñun ci position bi ñu nekkoon 2016 ñoom tam fa la nekk tey so yow soo ootee loolu is a replica of that so loolu def ma sa warogal because Gambian media bi is expected to do that li nga def ni ok scénario bu nekk mooy Macky Sall ñu bëri dañ doon wax ne dafa bëgg a taataan mu ne du wax yees du wax non du wax yees du wax non mu nekk fa ba ñi nañu gis ne su waxee su ñu jógee mu ne président dafa am pour dem mu daala ni su advocaté ne président war naa laajte 3e mandat mu bàyyi la ñu suspect na kon bëgg na ko waaye nag bi mu demee ok mu jànku wanteel ak a political force boo xam ne like is different from other political forces yi Sénégal mi noonu di gis because tamit ak loo mun a wax gars yi Pastef ak Ousmane Sonko dañ leen nangul one thing ne dañ change the political landscape not only Sénégal waaye they are a force to be reckoned with par exemple lañ si Africa you know because fii politicians ñoo daan génne xaalis at yi di jox nit ñi yow gis nga ñoom ni in fact nit ñaa leen dee jox they were able to bring a project explain nit ñi ak nit ñi ñu accept ko because lan la du Sénégal du fenn Afrique in general from independence we dañ needul politicians pour ñu lead ñu to independence and after independence ñu build suñu institutions but after loolu happen pare we needed economists pour defar suñu economics so ñoom Sonko bi ñëwee they have a project that bu ñëw pour solve the political and economical problem of Senegal did make them different from all other political parties because they have model of economy wane naka economy war a demee wane naka la politique bi war a demee biir Sénégal am nañ loolu ante jaay nañ ko te not only youth si ak nii intellectuals si but a sound minded somebody even from the street nangul na leen loolu moo dee warta nga gis comme Macky Sall mu dee jaxasoo bu ko def ba foog ne affaire yi téeméer ma jox leen exemple biñ ñee ok léegi dañ koy tuddi George Sabassi Faye in Ziguinchor xam nga dafa ruwul ne nañ ko delloo civil rights jox ko nomination papers na ko interior minister bi jox because inside interior ministry there is this department that which is responsible for elections ñooñu bañ bu George bi ruule loolu Ayub dafay dem fa mais Ayub dafay dem fa mu dem foofu Thiendella Fall bañ koo gis di xeet bu jógee foofu gars yi noo karab ga appel ko ci Dakar Court si
Supreme Court first
wala sax Ousmane Racine John ñoo joxe di seen waat Doudou Ndir nga xam ne moo jiite Sénat bi Sénat nga xam ne Abdoulaye Wade mu ko indi 2005 pour mu make sure ne all elections in Senegal are supervised, monitored from the beginning, from registration up to living. They have the power to supervise, monitor. Jaarale lépp yoon Doudou Ndir mën a jox leen ko Macky Sall mu tas ko
Sénat bi
understand so léegi dem na ba gis ne digga ñii naka tuwaatee understand ñii buggal na génne totally out of the scene.
Elections.
Wow. That's what Sonko said. Mine, so len setane, Macky Sall, mu neutralize ma. Every Senegal for responsibility or every Senegal will be a victim. Xam nga mo amul tay, fi mu nekk Macky Sall confiscate na all their rights. All Senegalese their rights confiscate na ko because tay for the first time in Senegalese political history as far as I know, maybe time is saying
in 83, something like that.
No, maybe time is saying henna.
Yeah.
Behind ci early days mu push election. Waaye man mënuma remember fi mu ko push. Xam naa ne nag rule na bi one party state. Bi mu amee problème mu di 62. Ba 74 mu Ablaye Wade yi ak PDS. Waaye bi mu ñëwee ba dem ba bay Abdou Diouf. Elections were controversial 88. Even 93, the president dafa resign conseil constitutionnel bi ñu rey vice president bi Babacar Seye taw election ci dañ ko continue
2012 also
even 2000 Ablaye Wade dafa make pronouncement in France mu ne moom this year election ci dañ suñu jaarul yoon Abdou Diouf dëkk bi militaire yi nañ jël dëkk bi so mu waxee loolu dafa cause problème bu rëy biir Sénégal dañ ci defa non mu ngi oote coup d'état mu ngi ni nangam ni kii rek para bi bés bu ñu wàcce si Sénégal ay kër mi ba daddi fekk dis Mustapha Niass ak Djiboka ñu ngi jógee from PS ñu ngi jotee Abdou Diouf Djiboka form renouveau démocratique Mustapha Niass mu form AFP daddi dañ place de la indépendance lañ welcome Ablaye Wade from the airport mu ñëw fa mu ne li ngeen dégg France moo ko man maa ko wax ma ne élection yi ren bu jaarul yoon armée bi dina ko wax am naa nit ci armée moo wax yu noonu waaye loolu tawut Général Lamine Cissé soldat la retired soldat moo nekk interior ministre waaye tawut Abdou Diouf mu pousse élection si they went ahead te moom win na Abdou Diouf nangu na xam oofu na ko political tension daf daan hit mu tof mu def lu nekk but musuñ koo puuf but now why is Macky Sall
2012 Macky Sall si boppam biñ waxee ne Ablaye Wade dafa bëggoon a move the elections Macky was the main opposition there are videos bi nga xam ne Macky si boppam dafa taxaw dañ dem di dialogue ak moom mu ne du fi musa am
mu ne jaral na ko sax mu jël madlam bi dem fële
waaw loolu moo indi M23
because Ablaye
manifestation bu mag boobu
exactly because Ablaye Wade mu ngi bëgg a indi simple majority
change laws yi
gars yi bañal ko loolu si National Assembly bi ngeen civil society ak ñëpp démonstré mu lifin ko understand waaye mu dem élection sax bu ñaaka ko waaye ma ne mosuñ koo pousse waaye léegi ñu la yëpp stakeholder lañ woon waaye Macky Sall is not a stakeholder pour organize elections rek peacefully nga dem nga bàyyi loolu tam mu nekk problème
lu tax nga foog ne 3 weeks into election bi 25th la 3 weeks into election lan moo tax nga foog ne Macky Sall mu move because obviously moom candidate am bi Amadou Ba mu fa plus 19 other candidates 20 candidates lañ am musuñoo apart from time yi lu yaaga benn yoon lañ musa am this number of candidates either 5, 7 or 13 this is the first time you have 20 candidates I don't know a lot of people say this is very diverse yes ñu bari gëm nañ ne Massi Sonko dañ leen jaay doole waaye waroon nañoo bokka even in the rulings but lan moo tax nga foog ne Macky Sall mu move elections bi even though he has his candidate as part of the candidates
bëggut a dem because xam na ne candidate am day win xam na ne already Bassirou Diomaye Faye mu fa Sait Matty mu fa ñi ñëpp Pastef project Habib Sy mu fa ñi ñëpp Pastef project bi lañ wala sax te moom candidate am du dem so therefore moom ida kooku toog wala moom du dem because mu amul intérêt si dem because su demee loolu la raka gis nga dis Sait Coulibaly ak Cheikh Ndiaye dos jooji si gars yi di accuse noonu conseil constitutionnel naan ñoom nii nangam da nga bëgg a ne das Rose Wari ki gars arrêté noonu ndaw su am xaw ma triple lifi naka dooti waaw moom sax fu naa tri la am na li ba noonu sax wala sax na da nga foog ne loolu rek dafa jar kam ñu ne Karim Wade nii rek ñu dem ci National Assembly bi fast track bill fast track bill pour rek pousse élection si te ñoom ñoo gën a xam ne bill boobu ñu ne dañ koo pousse to August ñu xam ne August nawet la maagal ni xam ne de jëloo ñu pousse ko ba décembre suñ ko pousse ba décembre yow li nga anticiper nii mu happen ñu dem décembre National Assembly ay yooyu Macky Sall kañ la faa jóge dina bugga am mandate tam bi dina ko bugga am illegally te daf ko am without legitimacy because already lu xale foo waxoon Yaya Jammeh gaa nañ ko wane ko April 2 bii su ko passé
Halifa loolu la fi waxoon Jammeh de mu ne ko after lii bi kay you are consider you as a rebel leader Halifa
so April 2 daal moom war naa mën mu try nu mu gën a gaawee because lii man gis naa what is the name again Martin Miller the spokesperson State Department gis naa mu make some statement even ECOWAS seen last statement bi different so na try understand waaye tamit dama foog ne ok yeneen dëkk yi muy Banjul muy Sierra Leone muy Abuja muy Ghana ñoom ñëpp war nañoo jël taxawaay bi nga xam ne ñoom jëloon nañ ko 2016 ni waxtaan Macky Sall ñu espérer na ko waaye ndax xëy na su fekkee lu only the fittest and the fittest all survive ndax moom si Macky Sall si biir gon si la si gal yi waaye whatsoever Macky Sall def na loo président ci li mu nekk nii moom sax xam na ne after April 2 dina ñàkk legitimacy because the proper procedure bi gars yi pousse bill bii pour pousse élection si sax ñoom sax ñu ngi xam ne jaarul yoon.
Sid, Senegalese situation bi 3 weeks into the elections Macky mu change mu ne dissolve na order bi mu joxe pour ñu elections order boobu la withdraw number 1 number 2 gars yi put up a bill boo xam ne ñëw ko si National Assembly pour extend the mandate of the president and even that process there was no deliberations and then the deputy ñu ne vote du am ñu am pour force in the security personnel ñu génne leen some of them they were malhandled and ñu génne leen ñu vote and now that law pour bill boobu pour mu nekk law it has to go to the Conseil constitutionnel the same people ni nga xam ne Macky ak gaay bi ñooñu leen accuse ne ñoom lañ corrupt it's a 7-man judge team ñoom ñooy constitutional court bi ñoom ñoo dee handle everything the constitution ñoom ñoo dee handle elections tam ñoom yóbbu nañ loi bi foofu Macky député yi ñu ko pass and then the opposition député tam file nañ ne loi bi pour ñu annul ko and also the 20 candidates ñoom tam file nañ in petition the judges are supposed to take a decision at least minimum 48 hours after so you can expect that their decisions should come out by Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Now there's already rumors that Macky is going to dissolve that institution. And if he because dissolve na Senegal, their laws 60 days before election, there should not be any political trials, political leader or local trial. In fact, not a song of some trial, it should not be. What in court tries 60 days before the election. And also, one law dissolved any of the electoral bodies. He dissolved the Senate because Senate bi buñ waxee DG bi ne joxal Sonko form bi because already law bi li la wax mu ñooñu ne ko soo leen ko joxutee by Saturday ñun dinañ ko jox Friday night mu dissolve Senate mu indi new members. Now these people are supposed to take decisions here against Saturday. Everybody was expecting Demba he was going to dissolve them. So people are expecting that he ñoom seen decision bi dina leen dissolve. If he dissolves that body ñi nga xam ne ñoo amee all constitutional matters issues su ko dissolve and then who handles any of this? It seems like he's paralyzing all of the institutions.
Fatou, I mean, what Macky Sall is doing is, in simple term, I call it a coup d'etat. It's a coup d'etat because when he mentioned it, he joined a new whole framework of what happened.
Yeah.
But the other aspect of it, include the ECOWAS protocol, because ECOWAS, you cannot change the 6 months before elections. But Dahanga Sena, it means Dahanga, a lot of other institutions, set up a date, change. I mean, like there's so many. It's not only Senegalese constitution, but region-wise, in terms of electoral processes, it has been affected. But for me, in a nutshell, this is I've always said the Macky Sall dictatorship. I mean, is a dictator, and that's what he's basically doing in Senegal. It's exactly what happened in Gambia, where Jammeh was trying to extend his term, cancel the elections. You don't own the elections. You have no elections. You pay the vote. Macky Sall has only one vote. He should go and vote. And for me, the only solution for elections is 25th. He cannot choose not touch because anything, if he is successful, Monica de Macky Sall is forever. Dafa nekk Senegal forever, and there will be a lot of more trouble Senegal. And those are the things you have to everybody, Gambia, region, you even for commence to pay attention because that's the reality. Election is for the people. Niti ñoo ko wara dem tax na seen leader. Yo, who are you? Who are you nga ne da nga ew rek because of course nit yi jox nañ la doole nga jël doole nit yooyu noonu léegi nga ne da nga cancel ñoom lan la nit yi buggal. It's simple as that. So man lu ma ko gisee mooy ne lu Yaya Jammeh doon jéem a try fii loolu la Macky Sall nekk di def because the only difference moo nekk ne daf ko def before election kii def ko after election waaye yëpp benn la atteem bi moo nekk pour ñu extend seen boppa rek and I hope ne international community buñ taxaw ñu bàyyi loolu noonu mu continue.
Well, so international community, let's start with the regional body. Be just a fair behavior. You know, when all of this was happening, arrest politicians, you have over 1,000 political prisoners in jail. Ousmane Sonko, entire executive for Pastef in jail. You never jail, never am case pending, right? And other political, so being a Facebook poster, you arrest la yobu court. So ECOWAS did not say anything. A lot of people started, dealing one day, forget by hell he. Now, bu Macky Sall announced bu ma njëkk a gis mooy Embalo of Guinea-Bissau moom moo njëkk a def tweet to congratulate Macky Sall on this. ECOWAS issued a statement. There was no condemnation. Luñ wax rek seen first statement mooy the political actors yi nañ abide by the new levy buñ nangu violence mi am loolu lañ seetu si ECOWAS.
You see, this is the problem with ECOWAS, and we have done research on ECOWAS on the economic, and then we even call them siding with the people or oppressors in terms of how people's perception are. But all over West Africa, Tayangis, Mali, Niger, Burkina.
They are right to withdraw.
I mean, because it's the problem of ECOWAS. Yeah. Because ECOWAS is seen as like Maki. And Tate started to feel it because he will explain how Maki, Mungdon Jema try, boom them election, or boom gain that. Yeah. But even at ECOWAS level, at one point, we said that Gambia knew the reason why term limits within the rest of the region. Recently, the rumors you hear, Monica and Senegal was one of those countries that did not want that. Yeah. Why wouldn't Macky Sall vote for a term limit at the ECOWAS level, for instance? Because he has no interest of living in that. But the problem with ECOWAS, and especially now, they are losing the trust of the public. They're losing the trust of the people. And at one point they said they wanted to move from ECOWAS of head of state to ECOWAS of people. But it's just like talking shop. It's just putting them consensus that they make, and at the end of the day, technical army, they cannot do much because whatever they do, the head of state, they could make decision. At one point I was one of those that were identified, put them Ghana. And then we look at this governance protocol. We were there debating Besona. 2-3 days for the debate, in terms of reviewing the protocol, put it into broader perspective to represent the people's interest, issue of coup d'etat, how others should be suspended, and even these civilians that are trying to, because at that time Guinea already happened when that person decided to extend, and we were hoping that should have been passed because protocol and code not review, but that's what they rejected as well. So the ECOWAS level, the way they are set up is problematic. People they are not there to represent the people. At one point, he was the chair of ECOWAS. And what he's doing everything that, And so, Mota community, they hold regional leadership. The people that founded ECOWAS for the economic integration of West Africa, subsequently, Gambia, even the role that we played in 91 in terms of economic for collective security, this current crop of leadership, they're disappointment. Big disappointment to this region. And unfortunately, this is what I have to say.
Exactly, put the lawyer. Yo, lo munta wani. Nanga ko yoke. Yo, Macky Sall dafa campaign wa Senegal c'est dina wani mandat from 7 to 5. Ba bi pare dafa submit to the constitutional court ñu ne ko do ko mëna wani. Waaw. Légui yo la nga yoké
lo mu da wani
yo xam nga ne mu lo wani la nga yoké légui the same constitutional court is there waaye légui foog naa Sénégal dañ war am beneen format xam nga Gambie am nañ beneen format mooy ji nga Eva Marie Coll Seck xam nga resign na waaw ko season somebody bi tamit Ablaye Wade nekkoon health minister wok na jablu HO ko ji nga yi palu ci boka bugul ko stir resign na ñeneen ci def nañ nekk di resign su nekk di resign Macky Sall na waxee garaaw mais baax na mais xoolal léegi jalo léegi man maa war a dialogue ak yéen léegi léegi bàyyi leen ma bàyyi leen élection yi am because li problème bi mooy suñu wax because ok dinañ ECOWAS xëy na dañ issue ay statement bon tamit ñun Gambia ñun dañ nekk ci diggi Sénégal ñun wel Sénégal synesis we ka ci score ñun fu mu nekk nii économically sax dañ biis ci Sénégal lu bëri suñ bagage yu bëri day jógee Sénégal te problème yii de am nii sax even internet sax am na lu ñu wéeru ci kaw Sénégal courant baa ngi ni bagage yi nii lu bëri mu ngi jaar seen port ñun even ay légumes sax ñu faa jógee di ñëw fii so ñun duñu afford Sénégal stabilité ñun du baax because stabilité moo ñun si stabilité crisis in Sénégal is not helpful in the Gambia so ñun suñu interest mooy jàmm mu am Sénégal jàmm mu am Sénégal na la ñu wax Sénégalais mooy nañ expérience Macky Sall léegi ñi fa nekk ñoom fu soo àggee na place yi moralité mooy dicter sa conscience on da nga ne sëñ bi démissionnant nga jox ko su yàggee dafa wàccal gaay mi comme Eva Marie Coll Seck lu mu def nii xam nga yaay jame fi dafa toog ne dégg nga ministre resign na dem na donc loolu la doon dégg waaw su gaay toogee di resign ba yàgg moom du desee dara dafa wàcca ba if not rek ni maa gisee train bi ni moo demee nii yàlla mën na si tourné mu seede waaye tamit affaire yi there is institutional crisis present in Senegal and if the institutions if they are into a crisis like this gis nga political crisis daf di affect lu nekk daf di affect religion daf di affect society bi dafa affect any other thing because we politics moo nekk di administre réew if it is into crisis rek lu nekk économique yëpp dafa nekk di standstill te loolu baaxul sax
Mustapha, what role should Gambia play? In 2016, Macky Sall, I wrote that on my Facebook, came out here and forced Jammeh out. Because Momoja resolution.
And Senegal led the resolution before the Security Council.
He was the one who took it to the Security Council.
And they essentially contributed the largest number of boots on the ground.
To be on the ground. And Gambians were so grateful the role Senegal played.
And you know, those early interventions were all deployed on self-sustenance basis, meaning countries who had deployed their troops financed them themselves.
But even
at the beginning, before all the donor
government,
partners came, yes.
Even our entire government
It cost them millions of dollars.
Hosted by Senegal, and they costed them millions. Our president was sworn in Senegal.
Yes.
Now, Senegal stood by us when we needed them. What role should we play now?
So I would say that Senegal did not.
When Macky Sall announced he was not running,
well, we celebrated.
President Barrow congratulated him.
Yes.
And called him a Democrat.
Yeah, but Senegal, Macky Sall ni Jammeh man fata. You see, for a dictator, I am for, and I am okay. Now, what he says is different because what Macky just did is who he is. Yeah. You know, what he said before, that's not him. That's just the politicians talking.
The action.
But this one he did is who Macky is. Yeah. That's who he has always been. He has always, even me who is not familiar with Senegalese politics, I can count how many of his planned opponents he took to prison just to make sure he get around. And ordinarily, we know Macky didn't do that in the interest of transparency or accountability. He himself, his own brother, was indicted in a BBC investigation. Yes. Nothing was done about it. Yeah. Exactly. So, essentially, I think for Senegal, it was an issue of self-interest that they did what they had done in 2016. They didn't do that for Gambia. They did it for themselves also.
Well, we have a bigger interest in Senegal.
Yeah, of course, but that's my point also. If Gambia was destabilized, Gambia was just at the center of Senegal. It's like if you have a three-bedroom apartment and you allow one bedroom to be on fire. And even if you are not inhabiting that bedroom, it's not in your interest because ultimately the fire is going to consume the whole building. Yeah. So Senegal just came to put out fire in one of the bedrooms of the three-bedroom house. Yeah. Right? And that's an issue of self-interest. That's how it is. Yes, but that's how it was. I mean, and essentially, if you look at Casamance, Gambia is very instrumental in solving the problem in Casamance. Senegal could not intervene successfully in Casamance militarily even, without Gambia's cooperation and succeed even one bit, because you remember all the interventions Senegal had always wanted boots on the ground on Gambia and on Senegal, so that when they confront rebels on the other side, they could also confront them from this other side. And even the illegal timber trade, drug trade. And you remember one of the earliest analysts, security analysts were talking about in 2017 was that the destabilization of Gambia was going to destabilize the region, and this is how they explain it. So Gambia is in the heart of Senegal, and not just any heart of Senegal, it's just close to Casamance. Casamance is a troubled region that Senegal has been dealing with, rebellion since 1982, right? Now, if Gambia is destabilized, it means a large wave of land now is destabilized, aside from Casamance. And we know Guinea is unstable. Senegalese forces are still there. Guinea is also taken over by literally drug barons, drug barons. I mean, that's at least that's what its reputation has been. So, I mean, if that is Senegal is destabilized, we know Mali is no better. Mali is dealing with rebellion, and Niger, and it shares border with Senegal. That too will be destabilized. Niger, Burkina Faso, I mean, all these are destabilized countries as we speak. So the consequences of a destabilized Gambia was huge. And so is Senegal. The consequences of a destabilized Senegal, even not just us, but I mean, we can sit down and count how many things Gambia gets from. It's interesting. Before you called me yesterday, after you called me, I was at one ministry in Banjul, and I met a guy who was asking me, do you think I can go to Senegal? I need to go to Dakar. I have a problem there. There's a protest there. And I said, I mean, of course, I said it myself, this is the wrong guy you are asking, but I said, yeah, I think you can go, but check the Canadian Embassy's website and the US Embassy. They're always issuing travel advices. So so that tells you, I mean, how many Gambians go to Senegal yearly for visa transactions? That's huge. And protest is even not instability. Let's not talk of military or even protest alone affects travel. And so when travel is affected, people's movements will be affected. I'm talking about Gambians for visa transactions. And that's one thing. Just not just that. Gambian economy is heavily reliant on construction right now. It's one of the most booming sectors we have. Our cement is coming from Senegal. I mean, as of 20, data is very scarce in the Gambia. But what we do know is in 2021, I think we imported around $34 million worth of cement in the Gambia. And I'm sure it must have gone up by now. I mean, in 2021, Gambia imported over $173 million worth of goods from Senegal. It's a lot of money. And it's a lot of trade. I mean, iron roads are coming from Senegal. Our cement is coming from Senegal. Gravel is coming from Senegal. All those things are coming from Senegal. Road constructions, all these roads that are being constructed, most of them, a number of those companies, they have their quarries in Senegal. So I mean, even now, fish is coming from Kafunding. I mean, somebody says we are a province of Senegal. I disagree with that. But anyway, look, we are seriously, Senegal and us are seriously interconnected. Anything that is allowed to happen there will get here. It will get to Mali, it will get to Guinea-Bissau, because it will get to Casamance, it will get to Guinea-Bissau. And so, the trade, I mean, ports, we've been talking about a bottleneck. Some time ago, a businessman called me and told me about some trucks being parked in Farafene. And he told me long line of trucks that are coming from Senegal. And this is because there's a huge backlog at the ports in Banjul. And so businessmen have considered it more viable now to use the Senegalese port and bring their goods here. And so you are not now talking about just import from Senegal, you're now talking about transit now. I mean, our products coming from Gambia now are coming through Senegal, right? That's big. and it's a huge
most of these are
food products. Yes, exactly. And any instability will affect their transactions. And even you have things that leaves Gambia for Senegal also. I mean, you remember the fuel trucks that leaves here at the depot to go to take fuel to Mali. They all go through Senegal. I mean, and the cashew. You know, we have a good number of cashew exports. When you stop timber trade, much of what was going on, because much timber traders are either into timber or into cashew. Cashew, they take it mostly from Guinea-Bissau, because Guinea-Bissau heavily invested in cashew production. They take it from Guinea-Bissau and come through Senegal to Gambia. And let's not say any conflict in Dakar. It's not Dakar here, because Dakar is where power in Senegal is controlled. So that means that's where all military deployment strategies are made, police security issues are made. The authority resides in Dakar. When authority is destabilized, the whole other things, it has a domino effect. So Senegal, instability in Senegal will affect us just much as instability in Gambia will affect Senegal. Yeah, I think, and so that is why Senegalese issue is not a Senegalese issue. They have their internal issue. There is so much they can do on their internal political issue. But when their internal issue now threatens us, that is no longer now a Senegalese issue. So what Macky is doing is not a Senegalese issue now. It's a Gambian issue. And Gambia should take a subjective position on Macky. Because whatever Macky does now, it's a security threat to Gambia too. You see what I mean? So he cannot just say.
Are we protecting here? There are two
different. Fatou, I give you an example. If you have 3 houses.
Because there are two. The reason why I say this.
No.
Number one.
Yeah.
You know, Macky is Macky's government. Gambia government has a very good relationship with this current government. Now, a lot of politicians will tell you, we don't know. Like when we were having the 2021 elections, right? I had these friends of mine in Senegal, the Babales, and they say, they'll tell you, I'm going to use interim Barrow because we can deal with him, and they, from a Senegalese position, they were looking at their Senegal's interests. They want somebody who they can deal with, somebody who they can, let's just
which is perfect.
And for us also, as a country, are we looking at it from that angle? We want a government who we can always have a good relationship, like Macky and Barrow are like brothers. Whatever Macky said, Barrow wants security, but Macky brings it. We want our Kurango, they bring it. I remember one time, they said we were owing them how many thousand millions, and they disconnected us. Barrow called Macky, and Macky,
Yeah, but the point
so
now
Macky is Gambia's interest if you look at it from that angle.
But the point
so
now is,
should we protect that interest, or should we look at it from a different angle?
I think from my point of view,
because we don't know what Sonko will bring. What kind of relationship
what Sonko is doing. Sonko loves Senegal, from my point of view. And what Macky is doing for Gambia, that's what any Senegalese president had wanted to do.
From 1957.
Yes, because Senegal had interest in the Gambia. And every policy intervention Senegal makes in the Gambia is informed by that interest.
Mustapha,
yeah?
I did not cut you, but
go ahead.
What you said the last time, I said that to Fatou. I said Senegal, their domestic problem, their political problem domestically, they can even they can knock heads together. But when it comes to their foreign policy, they have the same agenda.
Yes.
The Gambian dossier is a Gambian dossier. The Bissau dossier is a Bissau dossier. The Bamako dossier is a Bamako dossier. The Cote d'Ivoire dossier is a Cote d'Ivoire dossier. They operate like that. But one thing I know, that Macky Sall presently, if it is Banjul, Bissau, Cote d'Ivoire, no, maybe
he's not in good terms with Mali.
Yeah, but for Banjul, Bissau, and Cote d'Ivoire,
because Mali is not in
good terms with them. Maybe Nigeria also and Ghana, so they can talk to him. I don't know, maybe from a diplomatic point of view, maybe they are doing it beneath. We don't know. I don't know. But they, yeah, waaw they require loolu. waaw ñu def ci suuf te ñu duñ ko yëg xëy na loolu tam mu ngay am. waaye su amee loolu moo war a am. Understand? Because gis nga Macky fee Macky ku nekkul kuy def loo xam ne xamu ko. So ku xam comme dafa serve as Director General, as Minister of Mines and Energy, Minister of Interior, Speaker, Prime Minister. Ki institutions yëpp la man. ñoo nekk président xam na.
Director General, everything.
Yeah, but what I am trying to say is, if you are in a 3-bedroom apartment, say, and this is the perspective I thought Senegal looks at it, you know, to put a resolution before Security Council to say we want to intervene in the Gambia, and Senegal contributed more soldiers.
Yes.
Now, and 1981 they intervened also. But the reason why Senegal and Gambia said let's have a joint military cooperation before the intervention was because this is informed by the geographical situation we found ourselves in. If you are in a 3-bedroom apartment, 3 of us, Sait cannot just go and put fire on his bed and say, it's my house, I'm going to burn it. If you burn your house, you are going to burn our house. We cannot let you burn that place. Yes. So we are coming in, we are kicking his door. You see what I mean? And that's the point I'm talking from.
Okay.
So you don't, there is an extent to which you can exercise control over your own asset. Yeah. You can't just burn a place where burning our own stake and say because it's your own. Yeah. And in this case, what Macky Sall's position is, Macky Sall is an individual. In this case, we are dealing with Senegalese people and their government. Macky Sall doesn't own the Senegalese government. He's a cogs in the wheel. If he is there, it will move. If he is not there, it will move. Exactly. So, and that Macky is the one who took a decision that now threatens that government and that people.
And us again.
And us again.
What should be our role, he said?
I mean, I think they've mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, come, all of them there were,
wow, because Mangi remember, I'm not Bohamne Baro. Issue a statement before third time.
Praising him, yeah.
No, before the third time.
Yeah.
There was this tension at Nyom Usman Sonkobe. Baro issue a statement and Macky Sall na maintain peace. And that was, I was
I think at this minute.
What let Baro wara def?
Baro room wara def.
Because they gonna kuma gisne Baro mo the best negotiator. Because they Gambia warna yo taxaw role bobu.
Yeah. I mean, come look at it, because it's as simple as that. Wow. Your interest fee is peace and stability. Stability Gambia, comme Mustapha wonderful. Barki Dima Mandon read Kini, the late Jagansi Senghor, on his book, The Politics of Senegambian Integration. And then we won in 1957, the Senegal, because Senegal, in the first, they noticed, because they could accept. These are two people divided in one people divided in 2 countries. Yeah, it's almost the same. Everything is the same. The only difference more in colonial history. And our colonial history is that we're British, from the British, French. And that also created a lot of tension. And even at that time, when Senegal was trying for us to form this Senegambia integration, and Senegal paid for us to UN in certain aspects. And even soon foreign living, at some point they had that. So there's a strong relationship. Both have the Monica in this country. But at that time, some of our politicians, what they were saying, Monica and into one party state. So Gambians did not want to be integrated politically with Senegal due to those factors, because there's a high likelihood Senegal was moving towards dictatorship. And so and we're seeing something similar. Senegal is a historical as 2 states, but beyond the states, it is the people. People be better is the Senegambian people. And Tay Maki, was motive when a dictatorship is Senegal, end with Jam. Because at the end of the day, caused no problem Senegal, created another tension, to some extent, Mota guy intervened to protect their interest. And when Maki came here during the presidential meeting, he said their interest in Gambia is one thing, and that is security. So our interest in Senegal should be security. And under Jammeh, it has been security, particularly security from the southern side. But this time, it's security all over. And this security is being threatened by one individual who have the time of jail. He wouldn't negotiate that more. What the pressure should be that he has to.
His time has left. What is anybody? This is why he said he's not a stakeholder.
Dictate consents. Ñimo liggéeyal ñëk ñoo wara ñom tam ñom ñoo wara gis Sénégal ñimo liggéeyal ñoo wara tok ñu tedd sa resignation comme Awa Maricol Seck lu mu def
wa indi fofu la bëgg ñëw gis naa ne fan yëpp because ñëpp dañ nekk di wax ne Amadou Ba seen candidat bi xam nañ ne du win and Macky dafa bëgg a change kooku because obviously ñu ne dafa def deal ak Karim Wade and Karim la nekk di support genuinely loolu because Karim bokk loolu moo indi and ñëpp di nga ne how ndax Karim moo gën Ousmane Sonko ak all other 43 candidates nga xam ne conseil constitutionnel dañ leen reject but yéen because of Karim ngeen ne benn passin di ngeen change constitution bi gis nañ ne kii resign na Maricol Seck resign
bala ma rek de
waaw go ahead
gis nga ñi nga gis noonu yëpp
waaw
benn people bi ñoo nekkal PDS APR these are all liberal ay liberal people bi lañ ñi ñëpp ñu ci Ablaye Wade lañ gis nga li gars yi di plé ni li nga gis ñoom Mohamed Thiam ñoom Mame Diarra Fama ñoom Nafi Diallo di jóg di attaque Thierno Alassane Sall di nangam because Thierno Alassane Sall moo petition constitutional court because Karim dafa am double nationality these are all they are all involved in conspiracy
it was a conspiracy ñëpp loolu lañ wax
understand te ñoom if we go back Macky Sall dafa convey Gambia scenario dafa convey an immediate meeting mu ne Mame Kerr Ndiaye foreign minister bi ne na launch a diplomatic offensive kooku moo secure resolution bi at the UN
yes
so te lu mu waxoon mu ne the wish of the Gambian people should be respected
ñun loolu lañ war a oote kon
moom tamit moom dafa nekk ni the wish of the Senegalese people should be respected moom tam after April 2nd dafa lack legitimacy from the Senegalese people because nga extend mandate boo xam ne Senegalese yi joxuñ ko
nga going foofu sax the point moo nekk ne 25th la constitutional process bi set up election the only solution fii mooy ne Sénégal dem election Sénégal has to go to election on this 25th pour things calm down because like the problem moo nekk ne yaa ngi post date election pour nga find mechanism pour nga gën a manipulate system Macky Sall from day one what he has been doing mooy manipulate rek and today manipulate na ba amaatul lu moo manipulate now he cancel
but you think it's even in the good interest of the Gambia considering at this point as things are Senegal has played and continues to play a very critical role in Gambia's internal issues including our security. But do you think it's even wise for us to be seen to be having an explicit political position on Senegalese candidates? I mean, as our president.
This is what I'm saying.
No, for me the issue is not about the candidates. For me the issue is what the process is. You see, that's why I said.
But then said the global.
No, what I am trying to talk about is what I don't think you.
Today, security, Senegalese forces, very loyal forces to the president of Senegal. Ñola garde. Tay today yo mun nga Macky Sall waccal. So yo ñu la garde Macky Sall mo la ko jox.
Pardon, xam nga leen la tamit.
But we should.
Yes, second thing
we should. Because those are provided by institutions of Senegal.
But are the institutions working? That's the problem.
But you see, whether they don't work, whether you work, you know, so I made that I was a digger. So you are rain, and never jay. Your truth is your truth. Digga bi moyne Macky Sall mo nek di yaha Senegal at this minute. And the right suko yahe ñun will be affected. Lim nañ ko fi. Economically, socially, politically, every aspect daf ñu affect. Personal relationship between Barrow and Macky Sall, no same business. They are two heads of state. They can work on their own personal issue. But when the life and properties of everybody is threatened, we expect leaders to take leadership. Then you are a leader, and especially at that period. And I'm not but there's a way that they can do it. Like you can, sometimes, Macky Hamna Lumneka did that. He knows what he is doing. He's just buying time and confuse everybody. Look at Americans who are in the internet. Next day, the guy free internet.
TikTok is a free name.
TikTok here free
for the
because
past 5
he
months.
Because for a very long time, everybody was quiet. This guy in this world, people keep quiet until a point. Yang ECOWAS was not here. ECOWAS can stop the monitoring elections. It was it not 20? They didn't come here. They didn't come here 2016. But when we decided Gambia, you came after the match. But the change, Gambians in your hair because then you said that Jaya will not win, right?
Yes.
And that's why you didn't care. Mother ECOWAS had it very difficult in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because like there was no do that trust issues. Mother, you always have to be there. Diga su jote nañ wax diga bi ñu dunda wala ñu dé benn la rek. It's as simple as that. And I think that's what what Gambia needs to say. Ne tay what you want to do Macky Sall du dox.
Yeah.
Do dox for Senegal.
I think we need to take a position on it.
We have to take a position.
And one thing, come for example, the Secretary General resigned, Kurubali, said, obviously, Mum Brodam is one of the judges being accused. So he has resigned, said Tijan Kurubali, Brodam, Latif Kurubali, the Minister, Mum Secretary General Office of the President, and the Minister, Maricol said. But also, one thing, Loham Negisnenko, even across Senegal,
Zara Ian Chan
publicly came out. People knew Hamne, knew they make a platform. They defend people like Birima Njai and others. Nyep coming out denounce this. Very close people. The ordinary Senegalese people, the lawyers, all the judges. Dogis being a lawyer or judge across the board. This is illegal.
That's why Setan Jakarlo. Birima is a Makis. Setan Jakarlo. Birima mo Makirala support. But in this case,
even the president's brother, Maki brother, 3 days before Maki announced anybody could do Makisili, Yankoya had reputation. But this is going to spill because take his name. This the syndicats, Association of All Teachers, the union, the syndicate, the union is right. All the teachers union, they're going to unite absence strategy. They had a press conference today. Tomorrow, tomorrow there is a general protest across Senegal by 3 o'clock. It's a national call. Then why teachers union starting tomorrow 10 o'clock. No more teaching. And by Saturday, if Maki hasn't withdrawn, by Saturday, they have some plan of action. Yeah. But remember, university, this is the effect. The University of Dakar, for the past 6 months, we get closed. Big teams, man, so then take university.
Because that's the center of
that's
protest.
The center of protest. Yeah. So then go take no education. When I went to Dakar, the Gambian week, and I met with the Gambian students there, they'll tell you, we don't know what's happening. We're just sitting here. Nobody told us, as long as Usman Sonko is in prison, that university is closed.
Yeah.
And now the teachers are also boycotting the Njangale. Look at how economically that is.
Yeah, it's going to have implications.
My professor, already you organized this professor at I think Harvard or one of these American universities. And Mungdon were in the history of Senegal that Macky Sall is the most violent president of Senegal.
No, I believe so.
Yeah, he's
I believe
violent
so.
President of Senegal. I mean, man, I'm not saying this. This is Senegalese that are saying, and Senegalese professors.
Yes.
Yohamna were interviewed by France 24, and he was talking about that Macky Sall is the most violent. President of Senegal has, you're talking about 1,000 prisoners.
Yeah.
Man musnga dega lolu ci Senghor ak Abdou Diouf ak and but then I feel also there is another issue. I think Senegalese constitution, they need to look at that, because the other day I was on Twitter, there was this Twitter space and they were talking about those issues. The problem of how the constitution itself give the president so much power. If it's important that you look at that, because this constitution, it belongs to the public. It's the voice of the people. People will know more. Your day president, then that one is a constitution. You can declare the date.
Yeah.
It's a privilege that is given to you by the people. Now you want to declare the date, but you don't own the date.
Yeah. And
Once you once you do that, then it belongs to the people, because when you announce the date, you get kickstart processes. You have Senate process, you have constitutional living process. So if you withdraw the process, then you will stop. So modernly doesn't make sense left, doesn't make sense right. And I think at the end of the day, Gambia is in position for what I So if we can, we cannot publicly say definitely there needs to be new use relationship. New cultural ties you use. Senegambia you have Macky Sall mu dégg ñu. Yeah, because at the end of the day, more critical. When we have issues between Senegal and Gambia, to an extent, it's important you deal with suñ culture, you muna waxtaane loolu. Ñu ne nag sa doomi ndey su gémmiñam xesew yow yaa ko war a wax. Te gémmiñam mu ngi xesew, so we have to tell him. Because at the end of the day, ñun la moo affect. Everybody will be affected.
Finally, Edi, this journalist from France, from France. France, not out of all of this, they will have a statement from France. And then, people are saying, of course we know France interest, Fanla. because journalist bi mu ngi la explainal ne waaye si National Assembly bi ñoom ñu ngi condemn Macky totally very outright ñu ko condemn but from the government itself France government nekkuñ di wax dara. Now this particular journalist mu ne Friday before Macky's announcement on Saturday moom dafa am meeting ak Macky and Macky daf ko wax ne I don't want the Islamists to take over this country.
waaw de from Figaro. journalist bi jógee Figaro.
waaw Figaro
gis naa boobu
gis nga ko mu ne Macky loolu la ko wax ne ko maa ngi move election bi because bugguma Islamists yi ñu jël réew mi te suñ demee election ñoom ñoo ko jël. And this, xam nga tubaab moom loo ko wax rek daf ko ñëw waasi. And this guy came out saying this. At some point, gis nga how our politicians use religion. Because xam nañ ne these West people, they are so scared of Islamists and all these things. Sonko bi mu ñëwee dañ ko ooyee Salafis la, bugut diine yi, bugut Tuuba, bugut lii. And then ñu mool ko into that. And he was not able to remove that tag from himself. And then France, ñoom their main interest, léegi benn dëkk moo leen dese mooy Sénégal. boo leen waxee ne Sénégal Sonko su ko jëlee daf leen a génnee and all these things obviously ñoom Sonko seen pronouncement against France tam ñëpp dégg nañ ko ñoom day bugg a economic freedom so dangaa gis ne léegi France seen silence dafa Macky dafa important si xeex bi tam
lii lañ de it's a ñeneen nañ ko woon ne like it's a geopolitical issue tamit because of France and all this relationship boobu doo ko si mun a génne because yaaga nañoo tuumaal ñii ne dañ bokk fii dañ bokk fële waaye affaire yi diine Sénégal fu nekk la nit yi traité bu nekk la nit yi Sénégal yooyu so yes within our context yooyu noonu mun na fee nekk waaye soo ko waxee within the Sénégambian context nit yi duñ la faale but this is an election France man lu ma dee wax xam nga yéene tamit nit ku ñuul ki dafa def boppam jaam ba léegi mel ni everything lu ñu war a def rek tubaab bi moo ñu ko war a decide and at some point some people like those people ñoom Macky because like gis nañ benn vidéo bu ko Macron di nit yi di ko tooñ si loolu noonu because you make yourself as if you are a slave to certain people you are a whole president of a country you are representing the whole people how many millions nga wax in Sénégal you are president. So what you have to do more is interest in the guy. You focus on your interest. Why feed the other problem with politicians? Then they, fortunately for my language, I martar like they was all of talk about besona. At the end of the day, doing more than that. And right now, no money fee everywhere. More than you use coup d'etat. But Senegal, they don't want coup d'etat. But Macky is doing the coup d'etat for them, and still the coup d'etat for France.
Every France said they have an interest to protect in Senegal because sen alal bu bari mo nek Senegal. Parce que alal Senegal bu bari mo nek bi di dem France. ñom am nañ diafo ku leen wara mëna protectal lool. ñom koku dafa ñom dañu bëgg proxy ko xamne mo leen fa nekkal. Alors loolu yaaka na mom ci politique yi France ak dikay yim colonize. Boden ñi dañ am a political economical project boo xam ne arrangé wul France te France soo leen waxee ne ñii lifin lañ te ñoo xam ne jihadis yaa ngi ko fi léegi ñu ne jihadis yaa ngi Mali ñu ngi Burkina Faso ñu ngi lifin waa Sénégal soo bàyyee ñii to dañoo mel ne dañoo wax loolu pour France waaye France ñoom seen boppa ñoo dee orchestré loolu France seen bopp ñoo dee orchestré loolu because xam nañ France xam nañ ñu ngi Dakar seen intelligence yaa fa xam nañ luy seen intérêt kan mooy seen intérêt ak kan la Amadou Ba mu ngi jógee France yàggul jos biñ ko falee moom mooy war a jiite APR pour élection si nii dem ñaata yoon la dem France ñëw dem na France ñaata dem waxtaan ak ay soo loolu mu ngi fa waaye man maa wax xam nga loolu yëpp dafa ne comme man football match soo waxee ne dañ ma saaca su koy loo góol bu leer soo su koy góol bu leer xam nga la saaca léegi Sénégal ñoom di ball is in their hand ñoom ñu am seen problème problème bi nag comme ñun seen problème la problème yi Gambia la waaye tam ñoom ñoo war a jiitu tam pour solve ko ñun li ñoo def nii yëpp ci ñoom tam lu ñu doon defal ñun tam loolu la ñoo def nii understand because man Macky Sall man pour dafa ma jaaxal because Macky Sall local boy la mooy di fausse groupe Senegalese président ñeneen yëpp dañu studié France moom Sénégal foofu la studié Dakar University mu state nii foofu la studié
te Macky lu mu sonna si ni balaa mu nekk président
foofu la studié
all these things Sonko di dunda Macky lii la dunda Macky Ablaye Wade lim ko def
nga foog ne ñun suñu leader dañ dee nga foog ne ñun suñu leader dañ dee land from history ñi duñ dee land
bi moo ñëw sax pour nekk président boo pour nekk président sax dafa fekk dafa am things nu mu demee diggante ñoom benn sigle Sénégal coalition bi noonu la demee moom mu ñëwoon
di dialogue mu dem si àll bi di campagne. And Macky
because
Sall
ñoom tam nit ñi mere nañ leen ni mënuñoo nekk benn.
Wow.
Because local government elections yëpp suñu nañ ko 2009. waaye because of president mënuñoo nekk benn am nañ problème kuy jiite ku du jiite ñoom Macky ñëw toog waaye Macky daal I think ne the trajectory the developmental trajectory bi fa def in terms of infrastructure war naa préserve loolu bu baax a baax te man dama ne nga institution lu ñu wax nii strong institutions infrastructure ak ay texte lu ma fa nekk ay building la ak ay texte ñi ko occupy ñoo ko made mu nekk strong institutions because infrastructure boobu ak texte yooyu yëpp if the minds there are not strong or are the personalities then the institution dañoo weak su fekkee
absolutely strong institutions is strong people
su fekkee grid daf ko animate there is no morality in their conscience ak loolu yëpp dafa institutional decay.
And finally balaa ñoo dem benn Walfadjri dafa del seen licence dafa close indefinitely. So you know Walfadjri obviously ñoo sax sampa Macky ñoo ko set elect Sidi Lamine Niass moo doon jiital Macky Sall yóbbu M23 buñ ba ci buggee dugal loi bi Macky Sall all the videos all the clips yu nga xam ne tey Macky Sall mus na ko wax ñu ko génne tey Walf interview yëpp Walf la ko wax because all these other media houses ñoom xam nga they are mostly pro government ñoom duñ dalal opposition comme tey doo gis Sonko TFM doo ko gis RTS doo ko gis DSS doo ko gis fenn Walf rek nga ko gis Macky was there. Walf is always the opposite the platform.
They are the rebel media.
They are the rebel media. They give platform to everybody and they don't care.
They don't belong to the government.
And the leader tells them this is the people's television. So see program they were doing how do you call it? They were doing a show, they were doing a live streaming of what live streaming is a little on this kind of panel and they were showing in between and the minister wrote to them and called them and said so let's talk with the same panel bi dina jël seen license but suñ ko jëlee is forever doo leen ko amaat at that moment they had to make a choice they said look you can decide to close this but we are not going to close and the following day ñu jël seen like that kind of suppression of the media.
Why in media you xam ngeen ko you experience it.
I mean it also goes to show that the situation there is deteriorating. All the more reasons why all the parties should be concerned about it. Gambia should be concerned just as any other country. Gambia should be particularly concerned. Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Mali should be particularly concerned about the situation in Senegal because it's our situation. You know, in all ways it affects us, and that's why we should also be involved. I mean, I'm surprised Gambian Foreign Minister hasn't made an announced trip to Senegal. Since I just saw that they said ECOWAS is having foreign affairs, but before that, Gambian Foreign Minister should have. After Macky Sall, immediately Macky Sall made this announcement, Gambia's Foreign Minister should have gone to Senegal to talk him out of this, because it's clearly a big mess. A big mess that's going to affect Senegal and affect the Gambia as well. So it's a huge issue that should be discussed.
And for me, I was very happy with Walf's decision. You see, that's why I said. If you are a citizen of a country, the first thing that you need to know is like you are a citizen of that country. You know, you have a role to play. You have a responsibility, not for you, but for the rest of society. So fekkee ne nit daf la bëgg a jaay fa doole gis nga man tey ma def dara lifin ma xam ne dañ ma bëgg a jaay doole ñëw téye ma yóbbu ma prison teg ma fa like what they did to me in Jammeh. I didn't care.
You just do what you have done.
I was already worried about my family ak yooyu noonu because I know anytime damaa dem mun naa nekk léegi mun naa nekk you know but wherever they place me you know I don't have the power you know they have the power but eventually lu nekk daf dee mun a jee. Today they are closing, maybe tomorrow TRRC fee because of these violations. You know, Senegal will need to have another process. But the bottom line, Monica and Gambia needs to take active position, not only for the Senegalese, but for the reason of Gambia. That's the point that's why we're talking about. You know, even if it has to be a neutral position where they want to call people together, I mean, Gambia need to do those kind of stuff.
No, for me, I think position should be in twofold. like our brother here has said, Macky is not a stakeholder.
Yes,
that is the first
for me, that
position
one
to
I
be
agree.
clear to
Let
him.
him out.
Now, you are not a stakeholder, you decide nothing here. You have served your term and you are leaving.
Just
You
observe the elections.
postpone, no postpone, what happens? I mean, how does he even bother himself about free and fair election? It's not his
He has
election.
an interest to protect
It's not his election. And he says, I'm the president. You are not the president. You are a caretaker at this point.
You should watch this comedian called Asan Misiri.
Hassan.
He said what?
And the guy who says,
Yeah, but he doesn't want a badola.
Yeah.
Like him, basically, if you listen to him, he said that he doesn't want another Macky Sall to come as a president.
Yes.
That's why he's doing all this. But it was like more of, rhetorical, ironical.
I watched
that was a good
No, but I also
But it's
listening to
exactly-
something. Someone who was saying, after Macky made his statement, he asked his friends, this guy, what has he said?
It's Khalifa. I posted on my page.
And he said, he asked this guy, what has he said?
You're
Like, what has he said? Because
And I also saw a video of Macky.
And that is a...
Senegal, what do you mean, Macky Jama?
Yeah.
Even if they don't have to do it violently. Because Karo Manko gives me a video, Munge Romba, Gange was Sonko. Because you see, protest doesn't have to be like against the streets.
Yeah.
You can do it. You feel, and what did we do? Yeah. We shut down the country for Nyata days. Nobody, and I saw the security leaders coming out asking people to come out and make things normal. Because politicians also, they depend on certain things because they want to defend, they want to show what they are doing. But there are ways the citizens will say, we're not going to pay our money because you are doing this to us.
And you see in the Gambia, because one of the things, and that is why we were talking about this dialogue being by politicians. There are different kind of people. There is a crook who comes with the cover of legitimacy and kindness, but is a crook. There is a kind person, and both of them can offer a good gesture. Now the question now is, Macky comes and offer you a dialogue, but this guy is a crook. He's been scheming to kill his opponents from day one. And that's his politics. That's his, in fact, everybody who sees that kind of politics, they say this is Macky's politics. He manipulates. Now that kind of a person, how do you even trust him? So, and this is a problem. So when Senegal would need to have to deal with this kind of situation. And now for Macky, so long as his term has ended, he should just let go. Go, organize the elections. In fact, it's not even you who organize the elections. You just sign the rest of your papers and leave.
The institutions are there.
The institutions are there to organize the elections. Yes. So the Gambia should just go and make that clear. I mean, you have seen what happened in the Gambia when the small instability happened. People ran away from Gambia in droves to Senegal. That was a huge burden, even on Senegal, because I mean all those guys, they had to be taken care of. And I'm not sure probably Senegalese instability would have those kind of dimensions. But even if it didn't have a huge security impact, economically it would have huge, because there will be protest, places will be locked down. Dakar itself, if Dakar is locked down itself, in 2-3 months, that's millions of dollars.
Banks have closed for the past 3 days. They are not operating. Banks were closed. For almost 2 days.
And ultimately, all those comes to hurt.
Basically, in summary, Macky is the problem and Macky is the solution.
He is not the solution. They just kick him.
He's the solution
Because
he
can end all of this.
he can end all of
by
this.
making a simple.
But why must anybody go and beg a grown man to do what he's supposed to do?
Macky said this in the last dialogue. So a grown
man.
That's what he said. He said they should beg.
But why would anybody beg a grown man?
Edi, finally, so final message. Lan nga foog ne mooy saafara li final message.
Luy saafara li rek mooy ñun ñëpp li wépp ñu d'accord mooy Macky Sall na ñëw back to the realization. Mu understand this article 31 bi seen constitution bi mu dem dinañu ko bi mu indi pour change this article 31 pour prolong boppam in power na bàyyilu na organise elections yi su organise elections yi Sénégal dem election kay tànn beneen Sénégalais because moom warta mun na moom benn nit la rek ci Sénégal ñu tànn ku nekk ñeneen nit ñu fa ñu mën a nekk président biir Sénégal beneen président ñëw kooku tam indi idée sam tam mu doxal moom mu génn honorable fu mu nekk si sax doon na di ko steen waaye at least tamit su rivaasee rek at least benn tey dina am ñu ne at least demoon na nii xam nga at least mu lifin waaye bu mu lifin too much ji nga soo yégee too much nga lifin too much dangaa bi dang dee ñëkk
dafa ñëkk
donc di nga bëgg a bàyyi sax doo bàyyi luy problème bi mooy dangaa toog nag boo itoo nga toog rek nga dégg ñu ne Fatou dem na nga ne xay Fatou suma waa ji doon fan la dem ñu ne dem na ñu ne ay Mustapha tam dem na di wala sax ñëpp dem bàyyi la nga wéet te gis nga most of the time ñi la wóor di la wax ne toogal ñoom dañ am interest pour protect waaye nekkul ne dañ nekk di protect interest réew te Macky Sall ñaareel soo nekkee président o nga soo nekkee leader rek sax even soo nekkee managing director sax léegi nga am problème si waaye soo nekkee président na day gën a sérieux so président na moom moo war a mën a understand ne moom fi mu nekk nii amul la dara lu mu warloo Sénégalais yi rek mooy mu dem bàyyi ne moom li mu def na liggéey na li mu liggéey ci 12 years am yooyu liggéey na li mu doon liggéey yëpp def na ko na bàyyi beneen Sénégalais tam ñëw liggéey 5 years su Sénégalais yi bëgg mu liggéey beneen 10 years moom mu dem toog honorable comme Abdoulaye Wade ni mu demee nu Senghor demee woon Abdou Diouf demee Abdou Diouf benn mu ngi leen toog mu ngi Sénégal Abdoulaye Wade benn su ñëwee Sénégal man dama surprise sa last election bi mu ñëwee pour vote ci législative pour soo jëfee more than 200 journalists they want to speak to the old man understand so loolu rek lu la ko dee woon mooy dëgg la soo nekkee dëruwul meeting mi ups and downs dafa neex mu naari waaye nag soo time bi jotee rek jël Ablaye Wade bi mu gisee ne dëgg Sénégalais yi ànduñ ak man suma simple majority bi dafa withdraw bu ñu ko winee dafa accept understand ma ki tam léegi na understand dëgg Sénégalais yi they are not informed moom to perpetuate boppam in power like this loolu baaxul sa pour Sénégal baaxul sa pour moom parce que lii dafa ñëw nekk mockery ci Sénégalais démocratie because Sénégalais démocratie demoon na inné bon ñi nga wax ne ñoom Sidi Lamine Niass they played a great deal Sidi Lamine Niass Babacar Touré Soul FM Mame Less Camara ñi ay journalistes dañ liggéey pour démocratie Sénégal because ñu ñoo xam ne media bi is the fourth estate and the media they play an integral role in preserving democracy so te ñii dañ liggéey trop ci démocratie so démocratie Sénégal ñu bëri ko tabax including moom Macky Sall bokk so bu mu yaaxa bu sam yaaxaale bu ñeneen na try mu bàyyi wuy bu rafet ba nga xam ne mu ngi fa woon pour Sénégal mu préserve ko Sénégal dafa nekkoon rôle modèle bon ni ñeneen ko dee xool seen démocratie ñu naw ko please na bàyyi loolu rek
in a lot of ways also it's what these leaders do over time. That is why you hear them say, I've sacrificed everything for this. So for them is they've given their lives to this, their humanity to this, their future to this, and they've become so corrupt over time, and violent, and do many things behind closed doors that we are not familiar with. And you know, and yes, and they are scared to death.
To leave.
That if I leave here, so Maki, for example, right now, he so badly wants to either continue or have a Maki toy. Continue. And Sonko is not a Maki toy. Anybody in Sonko's camp is not a Maki toy. So even those of us who are not familiar to a greater extent in Senegalese politics, all heard about the tension between him and his political opponents. And now he's worried. If I leave, they get an election, the likeliest candidate to win would be the person who is coming on the other side. And that person is going to do what I do to others. They are going to institute inquiries into my financial issues, and much likely they could send me to prison.
Or my family members.
You know, or my family members. You know, you remember his brother was implicated in the BBC investigation. Yes. Yeah. So a lot of those things come to.
He's more
So they are afraid.
Mustafa, you touched something very important. How people, politicians, when you talk to them, I sacrifice so much for this. It has to be about me. You know, and this is
because it's what you know and what you don't know.
But this is how
it's not a blank picture.
So you know when Usman was going to jail every single day, defending every court, appealing every case against him, and he keeps saying, Pastef, I'm a better candidate, man, my A, my B, my C, my D, my Z. Pastef kept saying that. But behind the scene, they had other plans. You know, and the day, you know, it was a Friday when they announced that the Supreme Court ruled against Usman, and everyone thought it was over. And what did Usman do? That Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he announced 5 of his people to go collect Parenage. 2 days after, you know, like all of his sympathizers were in shock. People were like, it's over for us. He announced for them to go. And when he knew after the Constitution announced the final candidates, right, he fought to the last minute to be there. But the day they announced the 20 candidates, 3 days after that, he released a video. This man had programmed and recorded videos of candidates he would have wanted to succeed in the party if he knew, he was told they were going to arrest him. He had recorded a series of videos, like he said, about 50 videos, campaign videos, endorsement videos, and all that stuff. And a lot of, in Senegal, people were like, that's not the kind of politician we ever have in this country. People who leave power for their juniors to take over. And this became a shock, and this is why Macky was also caught.
Because he is not like them.
Look at this guy that Macky has arrested for over 8 months. They could have, but that's the candidate that Usman gave you.
Hanga Fatou, gis nga
Jomai Faye.
Te story ko sal mu nga kapman wel fu.
But hanga Fatou leena la. Gis nga fii nii moo tax ma ne, you know, people will say that politics is dirty.
Yeah.
But they are dirty people ñoo xam ne ñoo nekk ci politics.
But they are good people.
You see, when you study politics comme kii lu mu wax mu ne tey Senegalese politics dafa change. And lu tax tey Senegalese yi seen bopp ñu nekk di change before politicians yi leen doon jox xaalis. Tey ñoom ñoo nekk di jox xaalis lan benn politician. Yeah, why would people ñoo xam ne they are suffering ñu ngi change loolu because lu mu wax rek la they are convinced. Politics is about agenda. Wow, ne lii nga gëm lii nga believe and this is the way it should be. Waaye tey nga wax lii tey ñu wax la lii ñu pes la ñu pousse la fële rek nga daw nga demaat si leneen you move to here you move there. At the end of the day you can be still the same person but you will not have anybody. People will run away from you because dañu laa gis ne yow ku dee sikki saaka nga because you are creating confusion in them. But if this guy say this is the way, that this is a project, it's not about me, it's about everyone.
And that statement
and now you're seeing that because that's also the politics.
Senegal man bi ma leen doon jaay musuma leen a jaay Ousmane Sonko de. Man projet laa leen wax. Projet bi laa leen musa jaay man jaayuma leen Ousmane Sonko. Tey nekkuma fi projet bi dafa war a dem. And somebody has to take it along.
Motor politics and
that was like crazy.
Politics and they strategy, tactics.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a blind politician, you're just a follower. Because there are politicians who have they are followers. They are not entirely out there to politics, but to look at the easy way out, you know, to get either popularity or to be recognized, whether you know, look for something and then they follow. And you see many of those, but there are genuine politicians you have, you know, doing your well. They present to you the hard fact, and I think at some point, you know, Africa is a situation for happening. There are some of those kind of politicians because from independence to now, politicians in Nahate, and people believe that politics is about Nahate.
And that is not true.
Life and death.
That is definitely not true. In fact, politicians are the ones who come to now manage national resources. Yes. If politics is just interest and all that kind of, you can say anything you want, then how do I trust that with my money? Politics, that's not politics. Politics is
and delivering for the people. So we're going to sacrifice our people. People that look over ñor I sacrifice and teacher bi nekko di sacrifice so they nekko di sacrifice
and nobody should even say I sacrifice. Everyone in the state is sacrificing.
Everybody is sacrificing.
In fact, you know, me for example, you know, I go to people and people say you guys are doing a good job. I say no. Now think about somebody like if you praise me for doing investigations, for example, or any of my colleagues. Think about the public servant who is giving me information at the risk of being sacked. Yeah? Or think about somebody whose child is raped, cooperating with me to look into that.
Yes.
Now, me, if I publish this story, I get a clap. Good story. That guy, nobody even knows him. That guy is the, you know, is the hero that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
You know, like
farmer bi nga xamne dafa xeexa jaani
wala du am yoon dem programme
ak jiiti yëpp su paree nga ne ko lii laa jënd sa gerte bi bente mo ko ko gonna sacrifice.
Yes, and you are president of the country earning the highest number of salary. What do you mean by sacrifice?
You know sacrifice. We're talking about sacrifice. These days my one say, I'm doing field work and I've been talking to a lot of people, security in particular, and concerns of welfareism, those things are still there. Like, how can you wake up and you're sacrificing yourself? You're going to die for your country.
Yeah.
But your country cannot pay you well. Your family, how are we taking care of that? Man yi ñoo nekk issues yi and moo tax man ma bëgg su ma amee position si national dialogue these are issues yoo xam ne dama koo jam whether dégg nañ ko dégguñ ko these are things yoo xam ne ñun today our role man today if I did not go tey journalist la moo tax muy dem di look for people to talk to ñun our responsibility moo nekk ñu amplify these voices of these people ñoo xam ne tey système bi mu ngi leen a nocco mu ngi leen a yaaxa and then they are not having any hope so our job and duty is to raise it and amuñ benn doole we're just individuals yoo xam ne we're working with people wax rek la ñoo def and ku ñu jël fine ku ñu jëlul tamit man moom I'll go and sleep and I will sleep peacefully because I know diggante man ak suma borom I'm saying what is between me and what I believe in.
Man, gentlemen, thank you so much. This was very interesting. I hopefully before we come here next week, Gambia takes a position on this to protect our...
And ask Mercy to go.
And ask Maki to go.
And organize election. In fact, not organize election. Election is already organized. That is not his business.
Let the people continue their campaign.
Yeah, and vote.
The opposition are campaigning.
And allow people to
They
breathe.
arrest them in the afternoon and night they release them.
Maki is not Sena. Maki nekkul Sena. Sena moo respect. So election jotee Maki dafa toog fële. Politician yi dafa nekk fële. Kenn nekkaatul control comme fii sax. Election su jotee IEC mooy ndey mbila bi. They are the one ñoo nekk authority bi. And they are the ones ñoo xam ne ñoo ko nekk defee. And I think Senegal they need to move from this Sena ñu am an independent body boo xam ne tamit it kind of separate. Because manipulation under a ministry ñun we have that.
Sena moom sa léegi fu mu ne nii dafa daaxa ñëpp indi gaayam yi teg leen fa.
Yeah, but hopefully because that elections are difficult to cheat when it comes to the election day.
Election day. Spot counting like us also.
No, in fact, election day, elections are whatever you can't handle until now. That you have lost.
Gisuloo Mamadou Bajo Camara constitutional court dañ doon ne pro Macky Macky ko fa def even extend sax mu dem retire sax mu extend ko jël ko contrat mu nekk fa waaye gisoo benn tey dem nañ ba nga xam ne jël na ñaari magistrat doon ne non ñii ñooy problème bi Cheikh Tidiane Coulibaly ak Cheikh Ndiaye. You see
that guy président Sénat bi kooku dañ ko waroon a declare asset sami mu bañ koo def Kalilu Fadiga yaaya mooy woon bi lady who does that mu wax ko Macky ñu ne Macky ne ko bàyyil jàmbur Koko is the president of the Senate of the Constitutional Court. Nyepne Koko pro Makila. But the judges are it's a 26-member team, but 7 judges, they decide. So obviously, even this Coulibaly, pro Makila Kuran Oye, because his brother is Latif Coulibaly, who is the Secretary General of Maki's government.
Fatou so waree def sa liggéey.
Wow.
Muy pro Macky muy kirib sa liggéey yow sa diggante ahala because tomorrow dañ la ko laaj.
These are constitutional issues.
ñi dañ lay fàtte ne tamit comme ñun dëkk bi Sénégal bi ñu ne ñun ñëpp jullit lay na kirib karab dañ lay fàtte ne allahira am na tamit. Yeah, so because
but these people are there at that level they don't know that. Said you see this year after thing. No much people talk about it. There are not many who believe it.
Scenario like this. Accusing your own candidate of corruption. Because
I think it just serves an agenda.
Thank you very much, Edi. Thank you, Sait and Mustapha, of course.
No, you thank him because he is the expert in Senegalese.
No, when we come to Senegal,
because he knows. Because as he was saying the names, I am tempted to Google them and see who is this guy.
You know, the time of music, radio program, the party level.
You learn the music.
This is about that. No, but do Senegal,
no, but he is also a very informed person on basically everything.
He is.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with your music thing too. Yeah.
That's my area.
No.
It is far to unlimited.
I used to listen to you.
Whenever Lamin Cham brings people on the project about Senegal, the text. No, that's not right. Because, I understand the policy. But when this guy came, no, I'm done. There's no other person.
When you do that,
and it's a good thing that we have commentators who also understand Senegalese issues.
This way,
much as they also understand.
Academics, it's very rare we do. You hear foreign policy relations. But most of us, I think, I'm not small professor, we more understand Nabuba.
Why feel so my friend, we have bigger issues. Let's talk about Gambia. Why are you talking about other people's business?
Those are narrow-minded.
No, but Senegal is Gambia. Even Mali is Gambia.
Yeah, it is.
The economies are interlinked.
Yeah.
The economy of the entire region is interlinked. Yeah. If there is a problem anywhere, it will have an impact, especially Senegal. Senegal is not just, I'm talking about 20, if you have a trade and export, Senegal is bringing into your economy close to 200 million United States dollars a year. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's with a GDP of 2 billion. Senegal is bringing in worth of goods into the Gambian economy, and it should be over $200 million. That's a lot of money.
You're talking about the formal process,
yes,
but how about the informal?
Informal, and also you share borders everywhere. Yes,
too many things.
And literally there are trading units in Senegal and Gambia that are literally at the border. They are not in Senegal, they are not in Gambia. Those you are not accounting for that. This is just formal export, not to talk of all the trading issues that are happening informally. And also not to talk of all the activities Gambians go to Senegal to. Now there are in fact existing taxi companies that are making business, a fortune, from traveling people from Senegal to the Gambia. You kidding me? From Senegalese airport. So any instability in that country will have an impact, nothing less than 300 million probably US dollars worth of disaster in the Gambian economy. And you are telling me it's not a Gambian crisis? It's a crisis in Banjul. It is. Absolutely.
It's our problem. It's our bread and butter.
It is our bread and butter.
Thank you, Mustapha. One more time, Sait and Edi, thank you very much.
Thank you very
and to
much.
the technical team, thank you very much until we come in next week, inshallah. Hopefully by then, Macky would have said, name them election, 25th lah. Dara du fi xew, election right? Good night to you all. See you again next week. Bye-bye.
Airport Residency Estate is a gated community located in Olyundum, proudly developed by Swami India, perfect for all looking for a quiet life with luxury amenities within an enclosed setting. When talking about the benefits of living in a gated community, safety and security is top on the list. They allow extra privacy, take away the hustle of unwelcome solicitors, and create a safe haven for children to play in a trusted environment without traffic or speedy vehicles. A great sense of community develops through the meeting at a controlled communal leisure facilities, offering an integrated lifestyle. A green environment and well-managed communal areas are keys to higher home standards, elevated quality of life, and better property value should you consider home reinvestment in the future. Added to all is the location, just next to the airport and reconstructed main road, yet tucked in the tranquility of nature. Our purpose is one: your satisfaction. Contact us. Let us help you build your dream home in the Gambia.
We are happy to announce the launch of our new logo. We have evolved since our incorporation in 1997, and it is time to refresh our new look to reflect who we are today. Before I reveal our new look, however, walk with me while I take you through our journey of the last 25 years. Trust Bank was incorporated on July 3rd, 1997 and began operations on October 1st, 1997. Following the collapse of the parent company of its predecessor, Meridian, the CBG stepped in and recapitalized the bank and held the shares in trust, thus the name Trust Bank. In 1999, the first investors who responded to the IPO and paid $1.50 per share received their maiden dividend of 50 bututs per share. In 2000, the bank fully paid back its investment by declaring another dividend of $1.20 bututs per share, making it a cumulative dividend per share of $1.70, which was 20 bututs above the purchase price. Between 2002 to date, share capital has increased from $27 million to $200 million, indicating that the bank has grown organically by plowing back profits to increase capital while at the same time paying dividends to shareholders. The bank was listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange in November 2002, being the first ever cross-border listing in the sub-region. Now let's talk about awards. The bank was awarded the insignia of the National Order of the Republic of the Gambia, ORG, in the year 2010 by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia. During the past years, the bank has received so many national and international awards. Banker Magazine, 6 times. Global Finance, 6 times. Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, 5 times. We began operations with 3 branches. Now, we have 18 branches and 20 ATMs and counting. On digital services, mobile app, check. Online banking, check. Transaction alerts, check. Watch this space. We've got more coming. Creating employment, yes, we've got that too. 400 and counting. And we take great care of our people too. Medical insurance, life insurance, private and state pensions, annual pilgrimages for both Muslims and Christians, training, yes, we do them all. One team, one family, one goal. That's the Trust Bank spirit. On corporate social responsibility, we have spent over $50 million in various causes. We care, and so we share. Over the years, we have paid over $1.6 billion to our shareholders, which translates to a whopping $20 per share and counting. Phenomenal returns for our shareholders who purchased at $1.50. Corporate taxes, over $1 billion is paid. Our journey started with a vision to create the kind of company that delivers quality services and innovative products with an inspired team dedicated to serving our customers, our environment, and our communities at large in the most caring manner. We remain fully committed to delivering excellent services to each of our stakeholders, customers, employees, shareholders, and partners. So, we remain true to who we have always been. As we look forward to greater achievements, we are rebranding to reflect who we are today and the future that we inspire. Our new logo has been designed to visually demonstrate our Gambian heritage and the sophisticated nature of the bank. We are moving away from the navy and gold-colored parallelogram-shaped logo to our baobab tree with a rising sun in the background. The striking outline of a baobab tree at sunrise is a familiar sight to anyone who has spent time in the Gambia. Our new logo and visual identity are inspired by our core values and spirit of being a pioneer in providing a unique banking experience. It is a completely new look that better matches the transformation we have made as a company. But we remain your Trust Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to present to you our new logo and corporate identity.